If you've ever written it down and made it plain, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We made it to Friday. It is here, and it is almost mice down, drinks up time. But before that, we've got the jobs report. We've got a session to trade. We've got Mark Putrino's excellence and experience to join us. We have Anne-Marie setting up trades. And of course, we're going to be breaking down a whole bunch of these stocks with 13 here today. Then we're going to have Option Sandy later today. So we got a full slate for you to kick you off into your weekend. Should be a good one. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition for March 6th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. I hope that you had a wonderful rest of your Thursday, and I hope that you are ready to glide off into the weekend. Thanks for joining us here today. We're going to have some fun on a Friday, as we always do, and hopefully we're going to make it profitable as well. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Crispy Biscuit, aka or formerly known as Crimp Biscuit. Good morning. You're first here today. That's awesome. Early to go, or early and ready to go on a Friday. That's how you close out a week, Crispy. Really good stuff. Buffalo by Bicycle, what's going on? Good morning. Welcome back. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you as always. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Astro Kev, good morning. Let's get this party started indeed. Marty, best bear movie, The Edge? I mean, come on, Marty. The best bear movie is the Super Bowl Shuffle. I didn't come to cause no trouble. I just came to do the Super Bowl Shuffle. Come on, Marty. Good morning. Happy Friday. Billy, good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Billy's, I'll tell you what, Billy is his new nickname is the chat scanner, because Billy is just out here finding stuff that moves for the group and posting it for us. And we appreciate that. Billy, good morning. Welcome back. Happy Friday. Azrar, good morning. Welcome back. Whis, good morning. Good to see you again. Producer, good morning. Love that you're here getting it done. Thank you for everything that you do. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Carlos, good morning. Indeed. TGIF. Indeed. Jane, good morning. It's good as always. Corey, great to see you again as always. Hope you're well, my man. Jane says, non-farm payroll Friday, always interesting. Indeed, it will be interesting. Let's see. We're actually weak here in the pre-market. We were weaker than we were when we sat down, or when I sat down anyway, which has been kind of the inverse of what we've seen this week. So we'll see if that number affects it and in which direction we move. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Dive Deep, good morning. Welcome back. Zach, good morning. Welcome back. Zach, are you 100% yet? How you feeling, boss? How are you feeling? I hope that your weekend plans, whatever they are not going to be spoiled by that. Appreciate all of your support as always. Day Trader, good morning. Appreciate all of your support as always as well. Hope you're doing well here on this fun Friday. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Linda says, I'm getting new furniture delivered. Linda, that is awesome. I'll be. This might come as a surprise to you folks. I absolutely love new furniture. I absolutely love, there's like a design aspect to it, a comfort aspect to it, a home improvement aspect to it. Linda, congratulations. What kind of furniture are you getting and how excited are you? Because I would imagine that level is high. Kenneth, good morning. Welcome back. Knights Lance, good morning. Welcome back. Marionette, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Happy Friday. Oh, the positive energy. Yes, that girl. Yes, that's what we need. Now I understand your handle. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Are we going to see a sell-off? Producer, let's take Ed's idea here and let's turn this into a poll. Are we going to see a sell-off today? Yes or no? Let's make it simple. And let's not give people a cop-out and say, I don't know, or I'm not sure, or maybe it's flat. No, let's just go yes or no. Do we get the sell-off courtesy of Ed? Let's see. The poll, courtesy of Ed, not the sell-off, of course. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. It's great to see you. Neville, good morning. What up, play? What is that? That reminds me of Tropic Thunder, which puts a huge smile on my face. Good morning, Neville. It's great to see you. Sobra, good morning. Yassine, great to see you, Yassine. Welcome back. JJ, good morning. Robot to Trade, good morning. Smita, good morning. Sanat, good morning. Suprik, good morning. Good to see you again. Flag Drones, good morning. I'm looking forward to riding the South Korean recovery wave, hopefully sooner than later. I think that's, let me know how you're going to play that. I actually think that's a good idea. We see if that does start soon here. Maybe today. I don't know. We'll see how today shakes out. Let me know how you're going to play that, though. I'm curious. I would imagine the group is too. Lambo Rolls, good morning. How's your weekend going to go, Lambo Rolls? Which Lambo are you going to be rolling around in? Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. Jay Harris, good morning. Welcome back. Did you drink your coffee? I did. 2 cups, in fact. I'm locked in right now, ready to go. Locked in. You guys are the best. Appreciate it. But there's one thing to remember about us being the best. We always strive to be better. Always strive to be better because you can always improve. And the other thing about that is that it is this group that makes this show what it is. Don't lose sight of that. Pat yourself on the back. Sally, good morning. It's great to see you again. Hope you are well. Linda says an entire living room and bedroom. You're going to have basically a new living area, Linda. You're going to have a party this weekend to celebrate. Oh, man. If you do have a party, don't spill any wine on the new furniture, though. Just saying. Up 30, good morning. Welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Jim, good morning. Arian, good morning. Butcher, good morning. Hello from Arizona. What's the temperature like in Arizona? And welcome. Richard, it's great to see you again. Valet, good morning. From Buenos Aires. Okay, good morning. Jim says, DJ Moore, honestly, the more I think about this, the more I think that it was really, really good. Bears freed up a bunch of cap. They need to get a center. They're going to do that. DJ Moore was going to be the 4th option, paid $24 million a year. I actually think this is going to be a win for both teams. We'll see. Catherine, good morning. Lost Penny, good morning. No Lambo at the moment, but Rolls, yes. Took it out this week. Snow's gone. Let's go. That is awesome. Is it that SUV that is just absolutely sick? Let me know. All right. And then Joseph, good morning. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started today with the stock market today. All right, futures under pressure ahead of Friday's open here, and actually they've continued to get weaker as the morning has progressed closer to the bell. S&P futures down 0.63%, the Dow futures down 0.57%, and the Nasdaq leading the way lower at 0.83%. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. Consumer staples, materials, and industrial stocks recorded the biggest losses on Thursday and led most S&P sectors to a close on a negative note. However, energy and information technology stocks bucked the overall market trend, closing the session higher. Forecasters pulled by Bloomberg anticipate the upcoming data will reveal a payroll increase of approximately 55,000, representing a deceleration from the 130,000 jobs added in January. Meanwhile, the jobless rate in the U.S. is expected to hold steady at 4.3%. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.17%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.61%. The CME Group's FedWatch tool is locked in and holding steady at 97.3% that we do not have any rate cut, and we hold rates steady at the March meeting. We have several stocks in focus for you here today, and the first one is my favorite brick and mortar store of all time. It is indeed Costco. The ticker is COST, and it fell 0.23% in the pre-market on Friday, despite reporting better than expected financial results for the second quarter of fiscal 2026 after the close on Thursday. Costco Wholesale's Q2 EPS of $4.58 beat the $4.57 estimate. Sales of $69.597 billion beat the $69.294 billion estimate. Costco reports the Q1 double beat and also saw their comparable same-store sales rise 7.4% on the international segment. We have some more news about Costco that I'm going to cover in the news section, and I have a breakdown and some takeaways from the conference call that they had after they released their report. The next stock on our list is going to be Marvell Technologies, and the ticker on this one is MRVL. It jumped 11.92% after reporting strong fourth quarter financial results for fiscal 2026 on Thursday. Its fourth quarter revenue of $2.22 billion beat the consensus of $2.21 billion. And that's just for the sales. The EPS of 80 cents beat the 79-cent estimate, so it's a double beat there. Marvell sees Q1 adjusted EPS of 74 cents to 84 cents and sees sales of $2.28 billion to $2.52 billion. Marvell sees Q1 GAAP EPS of 26 to 36 cents and the same sales figures, 2.28 to 2.52 billion. The next stock on our list is going to be Gap, ticker GAP, and it tumbled 7.06% after reporting worse than expected fourth quarter financial results and announcing a new $1 billion share repurchase authorization. Interestingly enough, the share repurchase was overshadowed by the poor quarter that it put up. Q4 EPS of 45 cents missed the 46-cent estimate. Sales of $4.236 billion missed the estimate of $4.244 billion. Gap also sees full year 2026 adjusted EPS of $2.20 to $2.35. That was versus a $2.32 estimate. And they see sales of $15.7 billion to $15.862 billion. That was versus an estimate of $15.75 billion. The next stock on our list is going to be Oracle. The ticker is the ORCL, and it was up 0.59% as it is reportedly planning thousands of job cuts, according to Bloomberg. The roles facing the X are expected to shrink due to artificial intelligence. The last stock on our list is Ford, ticker F, and it was up 0.081% despite recalling 1.74 million vehicles over a rear view camera defect. Okay, let's take a look at the chart. We were talking about this in happy hour yesterday. What a call 13 made on you. I think there's going to be another buying opportunity if that pulls back to the trend line, by the way, but I digress. Let's take a look at the SPY and see where we are here today. We have kind of been in recovery mode the past couple of days. Yesterday, we put in what felt like a very neutral candle. I know it looked ugly in the morning. We ended up getting bought back a little bit in the afternoon there, and we finished basically right on the 100-day moving average, which is the cyan or teal colored line on the chart you're looking at here. We still have not had the strength to recapture the 20-day moving average. This has been very indicative of trend for us until we entered the washing machine area of the market here. But we were unable to break that. We were unable to break above the 50. And really, we're going to need some type of positive catalyst in order for us to do that, and then maybe finally get this market to 700 on the SPY. What happens after that? That is anyone's guess. If we look to the downside here, in other words, if we continue to trade down here today, I'd be looking at a couple of areas that have recently been right in the area of where we're looking at here. Again, the 667.34 to 673 range, this caught us and supported us the last time that we came down here. I would expect some level of support if we do that again. Ultimately, though, and this is something else that we had been discussing quite a bit in happy hour, we do think that not only would it be good, but the market is inevitably going to roll over here and eventually test the 200-day. The way I look at this is that in an ideal world, I'd love to have the SPY trade and break the 200-day, and then within 3 or 4 days recapture that level. That would be the best possible scenario. But I'm not even sure that's going to happen. We were asking the group where they thought the market might go if we have a correction here. And somewhere around 10, 11% from the all-time highs makes a lot of sense. Just to estimate that for you here, 10 point, let's cut it in half. 10.5% puts us at about what, 624 here? Let me zoom in here. Sorry about that. Yeah, 624, 625. So if we do get an extended pullback here and we break the 200-day, we'll probably be in wait mode until that ends up bottoming, and then try trading back to the upside here. So we'll see. Okay, I got to take a quick break here, just 1 sec, because we need to shout out one of our chat members here for sure. Need to shout out. I've been trying to shout you out the past 2 days, but I don't think that you've been here, which is okay. But 08 Roush Stage 3, which is a sick Mustang, of course, you have been banging the table Lion Atlas style the past couple of what feels like months at this point about SOC. SOC has some great news. SOC is up from your call, bigly, if you will. And if you take a look at the daily chart here, it's in a very, very interesting area. We broke above the recent high, which was absolutely resistance. We're trying right now to clear the consolidation area that goes back to October from last year. And look at this. We have a delicious target right above here. 200-day moving average is right at 17 on the head. To my eye, given the news, I think this is probably going towards that 200. We'll see if it has any more strength than this. Not only you, and in fact, don't I have another? I'll look. I don't want to play the wrong. I don't want to play the wrong sound here. But this was a great call. You were very, very confident in this call, and I am absolutely thrilled to see this working out for you. Keep the good stuff coming, Roush Stage 3, and also if you would let me know, when was the last time you put up in a quarter mile? Okay, let's get back to some insights here from analysts. Senior global market strategist Scott Wren anticipates a resilient U.S. economy and a broadening stock market throughout 2026. Despite recent volatility triggered by unexpected events, which is a polite way of putting it, I suppose, in the Middle East, Wren advises investors look through the headlines and stick to a well-thought-out plan. And I concur. I think that this is exactly what investors should be doing. I think this is very, very smart. I think being patient is very prudent at times like this. He expects market performance to continue expanding beyond mega-cap technology firms, noting that the S&P 500 Equal Weight Index recently hit record highs. Wren has upwardly revised this economic outlook, stating, quote, "We expect the U.S. economy to grow 2.9%, up from the initial 2.4% projection," end quote. The growth is expected to drive fourth consecutive year of record earnings for the S&P 500. To capitalize on this, he favors sectors like financials, which have actually been under pressure recently, industrials, and utilities, which are positioned to benefit from a strengthening economy and, quote, "the continued build-out of artificial intelligence-related infrastructure," end quote. Now, Tim's not here to take a victory lap, so I'm just going to do it for him. Tim, weeks ago, weeks ago on a nighttime presentation that him and I did together, as well as coming on here. He has said that the AI trade is still going and we are in phase 2, and it is the picks and shovels and it is the thing behind the thing. And that is exactly what Scott Wren is saying here as well. So shout out to Tim. That was a great call. We'll see what else we can make some money off going forward here. Well, acknowledging that the markets often adopt a shoot first and ask questions later mentality regarding geopolitical views, Wren remains focused on a global economic recovery this year that is led by the United States. Now, as mentioned here, we are expecting the employment report. So it is jobs day here. We're going to get that number here in 12 minutes. We will bring it to you as soon as we have that there. Thank you, producer, for helping me out with that. Also, San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly speaks at 10:15 a.m. and Beth Hammack will deliver remarks at 1:30 p.m. Okay, real quick update here. This is news that surprised several. The UAE could freeze billions in Iranian assets as the war tensions escalate. The United Arab Emirates is reportedly considering freezing billions of dollars in Iranian assets, a move that could have severe impact on Tehran's economy. The potential action is a response to the escalating U.S.-Iran-Israel war and could severely restrict Iran's access to foreign currency and global trade networks. The UAE has traditionally served as a financial hub for Iranian businesses and individuals seeking refuge from Western sanctions. The Wall Street Journal reported this on Thursday. Emirati officials have reportedly warned Iran about the potential move, though it remains uncertain if and when the UAE will act. Proposed measures include freezing assets of UAE-based shell companies used to conceal trade and enforcing a broad crackdown on local currency exchanges. Should the UAE move forward, accounts linked to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC, could be the primary target. Officials are also weighing direct maritime measures, including the seizure of Iranian vessels, aimed at disrupting Iran's shadow fleet of oil tankers and intermediaries operating throughout Emirati ports and shipping routes. Dubai's free zones and informal exchange houses have long concealed Iranian oil and funds. The U.S. has long urged the UAE to dismantle certain networks and has sanctioned UAE-based entities in recent years. The UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs did not immediately respond to our comment, but as always, I'll keep you updated on that if we get anything. This potential move by the UAE comes amid escalating tensions in the region. In retaliation for a U.S.-Israel joint attack, Iran launched over 1,000 drones and missiles at the UAE, striking Dubai International Airport, the Fairmont Hotel, and various residential and tourist areas, causing significant damage to the infrastructure. The UAE and Qatar have previously stated that Iran has, quote, crossed a red line, end quote, with ongoing airstrikes. They just be pissing everyone off in the region, it seems. The UAE has strongly condemned an Iranian drone strike targeting Azerbaijan, labeling it a dangerous escalation and a flagrant violation of state sovereignty, end quote. That is according to a statement from the UAE's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Furthermore, the Iranian attacks have unsettled Dubai's expert businesses and community and global investors, shaking confidence in the city's long-standing reputation as a safe and stable hub. The freezing of Iranian assets could be seen as a further step in the UAE's effort to defend its regional security and stability. All right. Let's talk about Marvell real quick. How much time do I have before the number? Okay, we got 9 minutes, so I'm not going to be able to make it through all of this news, I don't think, but let's take a quick peek at the Marvell chart here. So here's what we got. This is holding higher by about 12%, and as you can see, what that's done is traded above the 200, traded above the 20, and traded 200, 20, 50, and stopping right at that 100-day. Again, that teal line coming into play here today. Technically, we're above it, but as always, let's see where the candle closes there on Marvell. Now, it jumped 11%, massive data center gold rush. Shares soared in the pre-market. Marvell reported fourth quarter revenue of $2.22 billion, narrowly beating the consensus estimate of $2.21 billion, while adjusted earnings came in at 80 cents per share, 1 cent ahead of expectations. The results represent a 22% year-over-year increase in revenue, which is driven by robust demand in the AI sector. No surprise there. During the earnings conference call, a Marvell executive delivered a series of bullish forward-looking projections. Marvell now expects fiscal 2027 revenue to grow more than 30% year over year to nearly $11 billion, and data center revenue to increase close to 50% year over year in fiscal 2028. The interconnect business is expected to grow more than 50% year over year as well. On the customer front, the executive said Marvell is winning new business and expects to supply DCI modules to 5 major U.S. hyperscalers this year. The company also confirmed it remains on track for Celestial's AI CPO review to reach 500 million annualized run rate by the fourth quarter of fiscal 2028, with that figure expected to double to $1 billion by the fourth quarter of fiscal 2029. CEO Matt Murphy highlighted expectations and accelerated revenue growth into fiscal 2027, supported by stronger data center momentum and record bookings. For the first quarter, Marvell guided for revenue of approximately $2.4 billion and adjusted earnings of roughly 79 cents per share, reflecting continued confidence in its strategic positioning with the fast-growing data center market. Now, just a quick peek at what the analysts think here of Marvell. Evercore went to outperform, lowered the target to 133. That happened on March 4th. Morgan Stanley is equal weight. They lowered their target to 95. That was from March 2nd. And UBS has a buy rating, raising their price target to 120. That was back in February 23rd. Now, as far as the edge rankings here, which we cover a lot, it's got a weak value score at 2.68, indicates challenging valuation landscape, but we kind of know that with a lot of the AI names. That's not unique to Marvell. Its growth score is moderate in the 60th percentile there. It's solid growth prospects, and the momentum rank is also moderate. That shows decent market momentum. That might be one to watch, though, because if that picks up, we've seen Marvell really get up and go. Marvell's technology Benzinga Edge Signal reveals a mixed but promising scenario, while the value score suggests a premium valuation that could limit upside. I'm skeptical of that. If the entire AI trade takes off as a whole, I don't think that premium valuation is going to matter at all. This is going to go with it. Okay, and then here. So the ARTY ETF, 3.62% weighting in that. The XSD, it's got a 3.28% weighting in that ETF, and the FDTX, it's got a 4.39% weighting. All right. This is going to, for sure, going to be my favorite story of the day. Costco reports a Q2 double beat. Y'all can thank me. I went and did my part of the deal there. Comparable sales rose 7.4%. Come on, Ryan, get it together. Costco reported second quarter revenue of $69.6 billion. That beat the analyst estimate of $69.29 billion, according to Pro. The membership-based retailer reported earnings of $4.58 per share, which was better than the $4.57 estimate. Now, net sales for the second quarter were up 9.1% year over year. Total comparable sales were up 7.4% on a year over year basis. And a breakdown of the region is as follows. It increased 5.9% in the US. It increased 10.1% in Canada and increased 13% in the other international area. Membership fees came in at approximately $1.36 billion, and this is up from $1.19 billion in the prior quarter. What does this mean, Ryan? Well, this means that your hot dog and soda is still going to be $1.50. I am pleased to report here today. Costco said it currently operates 924 warehouses, including 634 in the U.S. The company exited the second quarter with approximately $17.38 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Costco's management team will further discuss the quarter on the earnings call that they reported last night. And guess what? I have some insights from real quick. We have a retired analyst who joins our happy hour all the time. And when we talked about the conference call, I asked him flat out yesterday, I said, what are some important things to kind of gain from the conference call? And one of the things he said, which I hadn't thought about, was the tone of the conference call. So I went through the transcript and I had AI help me and compare it to the last one. Here's what I have for you. The tone of Costco's quarters call is confident, upbeat, and execution focused, and is broadly consistent with last quarter's tone. Though management leans even more into operational momentum, digital initiatives, and pricing leadership this time, overall, the current call feels very constructive, which management sounding confident in the business model, expansion runway, and the ability to use efficiency gains to boost and expand margins slightly and reinvest in price and wages. from the transcript. References like, I shared this last quarter, and as we discussed in prior quarters, show that the prior call already had a positive tone, but this quarter builds on that stance rather than changing it. In other words, the tone has not swung meaningfully. This call largely enforces last quarter's constructive message, but with more proof points around digital, AI, and pricing actions, and slightly more comfort around membership and renewal trends. We saw one of the trends is that more and more people are moving to the executive membership. Could this be because you get more rewards, just literally in cash mailed to you automatically? Maybe it's the fact that you can enter the store an hour earlier. I know that's a huge selling point for me. So Costco seems to be absolutely smacking it on all of these metrics, which is just fantastic to see. Absolutely fantastic to see. Okay, Mark's ready. 2 minutes till we get the data print. I'm going to squeeze in one more news story here. Just one more, and then we're going to take care of all this other stuff here. Antonio says, Costco is better than Sam's. Trust me on this. Facts. You can trust both of us on this. I am with you on that. Okay, really quick. Oracle is going to launch an AI tool to predict construction safety risks. I actually think this might be a really good use of AI. Remember, Oracle's also in the news for cutting even more jobs. Oracle shares are up Friday during the pre-market session, reflecting positive investor sentiment. The stock is outperforming despite a static performance in the broader technology sector, which remains unchanged. On Thursday, Oracle unveiled its new AI-enabled predictive intelligence solutions, the Oracle Construction and Engineering Advisory for Safety. The innovation is designed to transform safety management by enabling construction firms to better predict and prevent project safety incidents. Awesome, thus fostering safer and more cost-effective job sites. Maybe this will have an impact on insurance down the road. This strategic move could significantly enhance Oracle's product offerings in the construction sector. The new solution leverages an Oracle-built industry-specific safety model trained on data equivalent to over 10,000 project years, covering a diverse range of project types and locations. This allows firms to quickly benefit from predictive safety insights regardless of their current safety program's maturity, setting a new industry standard in proactive safety management. Quote, and actually, before I do that quote, we actually have this number out and the market is responding. Let me go back to Pro. We'll give you that number, and I'll have the producer post this in the chat for you as well. Let's see what we got here. U.S. unemployment rate for February, 4.4%. That was versus the 4.3% estimate. Let's see what we get for the rest of the numbers here. Here we go. U.S. average hourly earnings month over month for February, 0.4 versus the 3.10 estimate. So that's actually up a little bit here. S&P futures are trading down on this. They're extending their losses to the downside here. S&P futures down by 0.86% right now, although it looks like it's trying to bounce as we speak. U.S. non-farm payrolls for February, minus 92,000. That was versus the 58,000 estimate. So that's contracting here. Market is knifing on that. We will let this settle, come back and check on these numbers and the market reaction to that. Let me quickly finish off the Oracle story, and then we'll get Mark Putrino on here. Quote, advisor for safety marks a significant step in forward in safety management, giving construction companies the owners the tools to predict and prevent incidents while improving the industry's overall efficiency and cost effectiveness. That came from Mark Weber, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Oracle's Infrastructure Industries. He goes on to say, leveraging AI and machine learning, organizations can immediately transition from reactive to predictive safety measurements, improving safety outcomes and reducing both human and financial costs associated with the workplace. The rest of the stuff we've covered on a regular basis. We consistently look at Oracle all the time. So I'm not going to just kind of repeat that here. But it's Friday. We have one of our favorite guests here today. Let's go ahead and bring on Mark Putrino and see what he's got for us. Mark, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Mark, we are one more week closer to golf season, and the word on the street is that it's going to be like 70 degrees here today, but it's going to be mixed thunderstorms, so I'm not going to be able to get out there.
Oh, man.
We're getting close, and I keep checking the weather, and I keep seeing the happy sun, and the temperatures are going up.
Well, it's daylight savings time, too, this weekend.
Oh, it is? Wait, the clocks changed this weekend?
Yeah, I think this is weekend.
Oh, and this is spring forward, so we lose an hour?
Yeah, but it stays light an hour later.
Yeah, but I lose an hour of sleep, Mark. That's bad news.
Well, let me make some phone calls, see if I can
Okay.
have them change the policy.
That would be
I think they were
something.
going to at one point.
Oh man. Oh my God. Here, Mark, great call. This year, daylight saving time starts on Sunday, March 2nd at 2 a.m. local. All right. All right. Monday, I'm gonna do my best, guys. But I might be in some trouble on Monday. The last time with me waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, the last time that we had this time change, it was a tad rough. It was a tad rough. Okay, Mark, enough of that. What do you got for us here today?
Well, I am looking at something. Whoops. I am looking at what is going on over here. Is my screen shared?
Yep, sure is.
Oh, okay, cool. Like everyone else, I'm watching oil, right? But I am watching this for some kind of a reversal because look how overbought it is. I mean, it broke through this resistance here, which I guess is why it's rallying this morning. But even with the war going on and everything, things don't go up forever. So the idea is to not try to pick the exact top. It's to wait for it to start going down to get in. Now, if you're someone who is not an oil futures trader and just a regular retail trader, there are some ways you can get exposure to this if it does go down. One is with this ETF, symbol is SCO, and this is the ProShares Ultra Short Bloomberg Crude Oil ETF. So again, you can see the inverse action. It does trade a lot of volume. So this is something to keep on. And again, though, we have to wait for the reversal to start. You don't want to try to catch the bottom in this case, catch the top, because no one can really catch the top. The old Wall Street saying the only people that can catch the bottoms and tops are liars is probably pretty true. Another thing you could look at would be this ETF, DRIP, which is the oil and gas exploration ETF, which is designed to go in the opposite direction and it's leverage. So remember, leverage is great if it goes your way, but if it goes against you, obviously it can hurt you. So anyway, this is one thing I'm watching. I guess probably my main trading thing that at least I've seen
Okay.
today so far. And then
I was just going to say really quickly, I was just going to add to that. Mark, I tend to completely agree with you here on this. I think we are due for an oil pullback. I don't think this is going to be as long as a lot of the people that are afraid think it's going to be. I really don't. And in fact, just to kind of preview in the next segment here, I'm going to cover a couple of tweets. One of them, and take it with a grain of salt, but Trump is saying that Iran wants to make a deal to end the war. The more we hear about that, or the faster this war comes to an end, I think this oil trade is going to pay big.
Yeah. And I think the end game here is it's guised in defense, but ultimately, Venezuela and Iran are two of China's biggest oil suppliers. And that's not going to be the case anymore. So guess what? They're going to have to buy oil. China's going to have to buy oil from the United States, and they're only going to accept US dollars. So it's a way, I think, of keeping the dollar, the world's reserve currency.
But the BRICS, Mark, the BRICS.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's an end game to this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for scoffing. I'll dial it back in here a little bit.
Oh, that's okay, man. That's okay. Well, it's like you got to take what the market gives you. And when you see a chart like this as a trader, you just kind of get excited because things reverse to the mean. That's just how it is in a market. Something will move until it gets back in equilibrium. So reversion to the mean is a big theme. And now let's go take a look at the S&P over here. And just to kind of point out some important price levels. Now on Tuesday morning, when everyone was freaking out, this was Tuesday here. So look at where we found a bottom. Exactly, like literally within 20 cents of this bottom over here. This is SPY, the S&P 500 ETF.
Mm-hmm.
So while everyone was kind of freaking out and dumping their stocks down here, I would say that probably about 11 o'clock in the morning or so, it became pretty obvious that this level was going to hold, and that's when the reversal started. So even with today's down move, and yeah, today we're looking down a little bit. Yesterday was a pretty down day. It's still kind of at the bottom of this range here. So I think as long as we stay above the 670 level ish down here, I mean, I'm not gonna panic, or I'm not gonna get too worried. Um, and yeah, so let's go take a look at some of the sectors here.
Okay, really quickly on the SPY, before you had got on here, I said that if we continue to sell off a little bit, I would not be surprised if the market challenges the 200-day moving average, which I have at about 656. And furthermore, 10 or 11% is down near 620 on the SPY. So to me, even if we pull back and break this low here, it's not actually going to be bad in the long term. And furthermore, if it comes into the 200-day, we should actually get a pretty nice area to trade it off of. So I've been waiting for a sell-off for a bit. Maybe we get that here pretty soon.
You know, I was gonna, before I go through more charts, I was listening to your conversation about the conference calls,
Mhm.
and there was a time where I did a lot of fundamental analysis, and I would listen to conference calls, and after a while, you get to know the managements, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes it's not what they say; it's what they don't say that you got to pay attention to. So one time I'm listening to this conference call, and the CEO and them were going on and on and on about this new game-changing product that they're going to have. All right. The next conference call, a quarter later, they didn't even mention it. It was like it never happened. And the analysts that go get on these calls that get through to these people to ask them the questions, as we know, have investment banking relationships with a lot of these companies. So they can't make them look bad. So they ask these like layup questions. No one called up and said, "Hey, what about this great product you were talking about last quarter? Like whatever happened to that?" Some managements tend to be conservative with their estimates and their guidance, and those are the ones that tend to beat estimates and guidance. And then some managements tend to be overly optimistic, and those are the ones who tend to miss estimates. So you can learn a lot by just the personalities of the people that are running the companies just by listening to a couple conference calls. Um, so yeah, so that's a good idea, especially if you're a longer term buy and hold investor and you see a company, maybe a smaller company that you would think about looking at. But here for the tech sector, this is XLK. This is a really important thing to watch here. This bottom down here around 135, 136. So you can see pretty clearly how
Mhm.
that was clear. So as long as this holds, I think we'll be okay. But if this starts to break down, that's going to pull the S&P down. The
Okay.
financial sector is holding in there too. And this is another thing that's kind of testing the support right here. So financials at support, tech getting close to support. Um, and we'll go through some of these other guys real quick here. Now we got to kind of just keep this in perspective. So communication services is pretty range bound. So when we want things that are out of equilibrium, because that's what moves, right? And what is that? Well, something that gets overbought or oversold. This is kind of just going sideways. So we're not going to get much of a signal in terms of what the broader market is going to do here. But like we could in financials and the tech sector, like if financials start to rally or if tech gets to that support and then that rallies, that's going to be a sign that the broader market's going to move higher. But we're not going to get any signals from here. The same thing with the healthcare sector. This is kind of in the middle of a range as well. Actually, I take that back. I didn't look at this since yesterday afternoon. So healthcare is right at support too. So now we can see what's kind of shaping up here. Financials at support, healthcare
Yep.
at support, tech close to support. So if these things simultaneously break, the market's going to get really ugly. If they hold, we'll probably see some sideways action or maybe a little bit of a rebound even.
Okay.
And same thing over here. Consumer discretionary is kind of range bound. Now, some of these other sectors have been really interesting, even though they're really small ones, like the material sector. This was really driven by gold and silver.
Yep.
And as we know, gold and silver are rolling over. So this is rolling over as well. It's a good idea to keep an eye on these sectors because you can get trading ideas from them. A lot of people are too focused on technology and they miss
I
the,
fall into that myself. I admit it. I'm a
yeah,
huge tech guy, so
yeah. Yeah, I like to find trading ideas that are kind of off the beaten path in a lot of ways, just companies that people haven't heard of. And if you're an options trader, sometimes you can get some really good pricing in some of these option markets if you know how to trade them. These are liquid options markets. But yeah, like, I mean, I don't care. Money is money. It's like, I don't care where it comes from, utility sector, industrial sector. Um, but people tend to lose the forest for the trees or whatever that expression is. There's the industrial sector. So that was a big, so this is where the defense stocks are. So I would imagine there's some profit taking over here. Um, and then we'll go look at energy. Now, energy obviously is up because of oil. So this is actually kind of a perfect example. While tech has not been doing well, and while financials have trended lower and now they're hanging at support, the money has got to go somewhere. And I guess a lot of it is just coming over here into the um, energy sector. So there's always a bull market somewhere. One of the things I was looking at that's pretty amazing. I don't know if it has to do with Venezuela. I guess it might, but some of these South American markets like Peru, Brazil, they're up 30% year to date. So that's, 30% in just over 2 months. It's pretty amazing. So that's another thing to think about is having some international exposure. With you can get them with these ETFs. These iShares are pretty popular.
and they actually trade pretty well too. I know 13 has traded some emerging markets, iShares, ETFs, and Tim Melvin has told us about that as well. So
Yeah, yeah. It's easy to get really kind of too focused on specific things. And there's always stuff going on all over the place. Like who would have thought? I think the leading market in the world last year was South Korea and it doubled. And I have a friend who went over there to visit his parents and he told me he was there in August. He said it was just stock market mania. Everyone was just on their phones trading because I guess they just changed some laws that allow more access and so forth. But anyway, all that. If anyone has any questions, we can look at some specific things.
yeah, I first of all, I love the breakdown here. Is this like a common strategy for you, where if you're trying to determine which way the overall market might go, you kind of peer into each individual sectors and see where their charts stack up, and then kind of aggregate that to form your opinion? Is that how that works?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The
Okay,
market is the sum of its parts.
sure.
So if you follow its parts, it just makes it easier to get an idea of where the broader market is going. And in doing so, uh, you can come across trading ideas and some of these off the beaten path sectors. Like, when was the last time someone asked you about a REIT, the real estate sector ETF? Well, look how good real estate's been doing. I mean, it's been consolidating a little bit here, but this is in all my days that I've been doing this, I don't think anyone has ever asked me about a REIT. A REIT is a real estate investment trust. Most of people that invest in these things invest in them because they have high
Dividends.
dividend rates.
Yeah.
Like there's this one, I think this is. Nah, I'm thinking of a different one.
My favorite is STWD. If you're interested in that, we do have several folks that trade REITs in the happy hour show at the end of the day. So we
Cool.
do have conversations about this. My biggest position, in fact, STWD, Starwood.
Yeah, this is a 12% dividend here.
NLY.
Yeah.
Yep. Starwood, I think, is about 11.
Yeah, I like dividend paying things.
Yep. They can't take your money back from you.
Yeah, and it's a if a company raises a dividend, that's usually a pretty bullish sign if it's significant. So sometimes you'll see a company the headlines may not be as good as people think and the stock starts to sell off, but then you see something like they raise their dividend. If they raise their dividend, then there's a really good chance that initial sell-off is probably overdone. Right? Okay, so I was looking at this for today, BKNG, because someone asked me about it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, now
When is this stock going to split, by the way?
I don't know. It seems kind of odd that they would let their stock prices get that high. I've never been able to figure that one out, like a good reason for it. Because a lot of people, like, what if you're just starting off and you only have $1,000? I mean, I guess you could buy a partial share.
Well, I was going to say that's where the fractional shares come in. Queue up Robinhood.
Yeah. So this is this chart here just caught my eye because it shows a perfect example of something we see in the markets all the time, right? You get these support levels and they become resistance levels. So it's not a coincidence that this is where this stock stalled out yesterday, because it was support over here. You can see here, support here converts to resistance over here. Now, the reason why this happens is because there's a lot of people who bought this stock here who thought they were the next Steve Cohen after the thing took off because it seemed easy. But when the support broke, a lot of these people say to themselves, I made a mistake here. I shouldn't have gotten into this, but I'm going to hold on to it. If I can ever get out of it at break even, I will. So when we rally back up to the level that had been support, if you have enough remorseful buyers placing sell orders, well, then support can convert into resistance. So if you're trading something and it's moving higher and you're just thinking about a price target or an exit place, if it's getting close to a former support level, there's a good chance that it might hit resistance. So that would be a logical place to think about exiting.
Okay. I've got some stocks here to roll through if you're interested.
Yeah, of course.
Let's do Path here. This is going to be UiPath. This is a unloved AI name. I guess I'll just say that. This is from Dive Deep here.
So it's hard to believe there's an unloved AI thing out there these days. But yeah, now here's another example of the way the psychology of trading comes into play here. So just like we saw on the other chart, look at this, the support here back in April of 24, stock rallies, and look at where it hits resistance over a year later. Shows you this is why this is market memory. Again, people who bought here who have been underwater the whole time can finally get out at break even. On the bottom, you see something else that you frequently see in markets is that a level that was support becomes support again. Now, the reason why this happens is because people that sell at the bottom get seller remorse when the price goes up. And they tell themselves, if I can ever buy this back at the price I sold my shares at, I will. So when it drops all the way back down to the level that had been support, if you have enough remorseful sellers placing buy orders, it will become support again. So if something is heading lower and you're wondering, like, where should I buy it? Well, if it's getting close to a former support level, then there's a good chance that there's going to be support there again. And here again, we could see this particular level was important. So here you can see the seller's remorse and the buyer's remorse. People sell here, and then the price goes higher. And a lot of them tell themselves, I shouldn't have sold. If I could buy my shares back, I will. If I get them at the same price I sold them at. So resistance turns into support. Over here, support becomes resistance from that buyer remorse. So for some reason in markets, some price levels has more importance than others. And for whatever reason, these are important price levels for this particular stock. So this looks like a pretty nice reversal to me. So if tech holds, there's a really good chance that this thing makes a run. And this would be my price target here for the short term.
Yeah. Okay. Lion here says Path looks like it's rebounding. This is a really good breakdown. Dive Deep. I appreciate you bringing this here. It does look like this is bouncing. And Mark, this actually ties into what you were just showing there with tech, right? If it holds up, this might be a great one for that.
Yeah, exactly. You have to think about what's the best way to deploy your capital. Now, if tech starts to move higher, well, yeah, of course, you could buy tech stocks, right? NVIDIA, Palantir, but certain stocks are going to move higher. Now, higher and faster for whatever reason. Now here, what I see is that we're trading up into a place where we had this really fast move lower when we were coming down through these
Yep.
price levels. When you move through price levels really quickly like this, you don't have a lot of time for there to be this large group of buyers who are going to be trying to sell stuff on the way back up. So when we get into this price range here, there may not be a lot of sellers around. So the buyers would have to really force the price higher. So this thing could move from where it is now up to here, which would be about 15%. At the same time, I'm just pulling numbers out of the air here. Maybe if tech rallies by 2%, this would be up by 15%. So you could be playing tech by watching the sector, but getting your guidance from the sector, but then finding specific companies that would really benefit. So this thing here looks to me like it could get right back up to here pretty quickly. I mean, I don't know if there's any news coming out. So there's
13 first resistance. It looks like the chat, or at least Lion here, and Mark in agreement there. Also, Mark, I appreciate you explaining the whole gap dynamics there. One of the things that I've been taking intraday short-term day trades on is using a fair value gap study that I have built. And it works off the same principles of what you were just explaining, except on smaller time frames.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's just a thing about markets. If you move quickly through levels one way and then you reverse and you get back to them going in the opposite direction, you move quickly. Now, this is when you're moving up really quickly like this, or you're gapping up, you don't have time for there to be this large amount of sellers who sold who are going to be trying to buy on the way back down, just like here. So when the sellers come in, they have a hard time finding buyers, so they have to really push the price lower to get the sellers interested, right? So,
yeah,
I mean, you can see it on a lot of different cases, a lot of different stocks, and not just stocks. I mean, you can pretty much see it in anything because it's just the way the markets work. But yeah, I think this looks pretty good over here.
Okay, good one, Dive Deep. I've got one for you. There's no way I'm going to let you out of here without you telling me what Costco is going to do next. COST.
Oh, I think I know what that symbol is.
I'm just making sure that we're on the same page. That's all.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just a little bit of some profit taking here. I would say this looks kind of neutral to maybe slightly bearish short term. I don't really see much going on here though.
Okay.
And even if I did, I know you want to be willing to sell yours.
No, I mean I'm long and strong on Costco here. It pays a dividend. It's not all that big, but long and strong here. And I mean, if I'm going to support a store every single week, might as well be part owner of that, right?
You go every week.
Every week.
Wow.
I went to
Walmart
produce.
the other day. Sorry, I went to Walmart the other day to go buy some golf balls, and man, I just can't believe how cheap the prices are there. They have these 50-inch televisions, these smart TVs for like $300.
Yeah,
so I might be treating myself to a new television this week.
So just a pro tip on the TVs. The devil is in the details. You absolutely want to look at the chip and how it actually upscales some of the programming and what it looks like. You also want to focus on the refresh rate. So that's really what's going to bring the price of the TV up. But then the other thing about golf balls here, first of all, what kind of golf ball do you play? But second of all, try out those Kirkland ones, man. I'm telling you, great deal. And those things play like Pro V1s.
Yeah, I don't know what these are. I guess they're just some kind of Walmart brand name, but they were cheap. And I just use those to hit around in my backyard. If I was going to go play, I would probably get TaylorMades. I've seemed to have my best luck with those for some reason, but at my level, it really doesn't make a difference. I'll play with the balls I find on the course.
Yeah, I do that too.
I'll take someone else's bad karma and try to change it around.
Sometimes I find balls that have funny sayings on them, or funny pictures on them, or funny marking. My favorite, I have a golf ball display that I have in my room. I found my favorite one on there. It's just a golf ball that says the mayor of Pound Town.
Really?
It's my favorite logo ball. Okay. Anyone else? We got just a couple of minutes here left with Mark. Does anyone else have a stock that he wants us to break down here today? Let's see. We did Costco. We did Path. What else do you folks want to see before Mark heads off to his backyard to work on his short game?
Yeah.
TTD. Oh, Lion. I should have been able to guess it. Mark, look, things have changed here with TTD. It's finally turned around a little bit.
Yeah, this thing has been in a long death spiral. Has it finally turned? Well, a situation like this, I would take into account the volume. I don't usually look at volume, but what I'm looking for is a really big spike, which could signal some kind of a capitulation. So the reason why these big spikes would be considered a bullish thing is because if the sellers capitulate, well, then when the smoke clears and buyers come into the market, I hate the colors that they use on these things. So confusing. Remember, there's no such thing as up volume or down volume. It's every trade is a buyer and a seller.
Zero-sum market, folks.
Exactly. Yeah. So this this is weird. So this is a big spike on the way back up here. So this could be a sign that this turnaround is really kind of happening. This isn't as good of an example as PayPal was. This was a stock of the day. And this ended up working out pretty good. So this is here on this day here. This is the most volume that ever traded on a single day in the history of PayPal. This right here, if we look at the RSI indicator, this is literally the most oversold that PayPal had ever been in its history. So when you get something like this, where you have the most volume ever traded, the most oversold that it's ever been, that just screams reversal. And what happens is the sellers just can't take watching the stock go down anymore, and they just throw out all their shares. And when the dust settles and people start to think, well, that news was bad, but we think the market overreacted a little bit here, so I'm going to go in and buy some. Well, they have a hard time finding sellers because the sellers are all washed out. So they got to really jack the price up to get the buyers interested. So you see a big spike like this in volume, like a really big one at the end of a trend or at the bottom of a trend, it could be a bullish signal.
Okay. All right, Mark, really good stuff here. Appreciate it. Do me a favor and enjoy your weekend. And let me know how the warm-up session goes.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. I will see you all next time.
Mark, you're the best. Take care. Folks, Mark's on his way out here. Be sure to sign up for his Substack. Producer, perhaps before we do the next segment, do we have a asset for that we can put up on the screen, or a link perhaps that we can throw in the chat so people can just copy and paste it? Mark's Substack is great. You can get a lot of really great stuff there. And again, don't forget, he's kind of a history buff too, so you get some added stuff in there. QR code, top right corner of the screen, Mark Putrino. Sign up for his Substack. We appreciate all of the time that he gives us here regularly. All right. We're going to get 13 on here real quick, but first we are going to do our Street Tweets segment. All right. In this market, things move fast, it appears. And if you blink, you might miss it. Shout out Ferris Bueller. But the first tweet here is going to be, Trump says Iran wants to make a deal to end the war. That's per the Financial Times. Producer, next related tweet to this, please. Nope, that was the other tweet we're going to talk about. Trump on Truth Social, as of just a few moments ago, Izzy, this was a good shout out here. There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. So, like I said, things move fast here, and you have to be ready with all of this. My suspicion here is that this conflict will not drag out very long. They're running out of drones. They're running out of missiles. They're completely overmatched, and they be pissing off all of their neighbors now. So they got big problems on their hands, but we'll see. We'll see how this ends up shaking out. Like I said, I had one tweet prepared, and in the time that we did the show here, another one took precedent. All right, let's go back to the Costco tweet. And here's something else for you, folks. Mike Zaccardi, no affiliation with Benzinga here, but a CFA and a CMT. He does great work on Twitter. Definitely a worthy follow for you. Bank of America says acceleration in executive member growth highlights trade up dynamics here. So again, I kind of made a joke earlier that with more folks moving to the executive membership, which of course costs more at Costco, you're going to see those hot dogs and Coke continue to be $1.50 there. This is a great driver for Costco. The executive membership, in my opinion, is the only one that you should consider as a consumer because you actually get cash back from it. And in my case, it has always paid for my membership in full. So this is a really good trend here, the acceleration of the executive membership. I'd like to see this continue. I know we just took a look at the chart there with Mark. He said there's really nothing going on here, so this might be the time to wait on Costco, but just keep in mind, things are going well, and the analysis of the conference calls, things are steady and remain on track. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring on 13. We'll do our pre-market pulse. We'll get you all ready for the market. 13, how you doing, man?
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody this morning?
Man, we're doing good. I mean, it's Friday. I'm sorry. Yes, that girl. It is Friday. So we're all having a good time here today, 13.
You guys are making inside jokes I'm on the outside of.
You better get on the inside here pretty quick then, buddy.
All right, then. Well, do we want to wait any longer or should we talk about PRSO?
Let's look. If you're ready to do it, we're going to do it. PRSO, this is the let me share my screen. I apologize. Dropping the ball here. PRSO is, in fact, the top stock on our movers tool here today, 100+% runner so far. This stock was a penny stock, so it's coming from penny territory, but up pretty huge here. Pasaro's 60 gigahertz wave technology selected for the next generation drone identification systems for military applications. I'm entirely unsurprised to see this type of reaction with drone news like this. Let's see. The Intact selects Peraso's 60 gigahertz technology for new. Okay, so that's the same thing there. So, all right, 13. Driving it higher here. Let's check some of the stats. 2.61% of the float short of 1 day to cover. I got to think that that's negligible. That percentage of float is pretty low. The days to cover is nothing. On average, the stock trades 400,000 shares. Today, it's traded 100 million. 100 million. Floats 9.1 million. 13, what do you think here? PRSO.
Well, this company is going to be one of several that I've looked at today that are having earnings coming up around the St. Patrick's Day holiday, if not on that very holiday. Company has earnings on the 18th, and they only have, what I can tell from their balance sheet, a quarter of cash. So haven't seen any capital raises or any, maybe there's going to be some more profitability showing up on their balance sheet when they, or their income statement when they report on the 18th. But I'm a little concerned about their cash position right now that, like I said, it's only a quarter. So hopefully there's going to be something that alleviates that concern in their earnings report. As you put it, they were selected by Intact for their 60 gigahertz millimeter wave tech for drone friend or foe identification. Right now, the stock is moving, or was trying to move away from the VWAP just as we were talking about it. It got almost all the way up to a resistance area of around 190. If we manage to get through that, I have another level all the way up to 235, which if we continue higher than that, we will gap fill into $3. But this 235 area, this could be a pretty tough resistance area to get through, as evidenced by the last time it was up in that region back on October 16th. We came right back in the next day and ended up in this sideways consolidation channel. I don't know if we're going to end up getting something similar to that. A lot of these penny names, they can come right back in and fall into their sideways consolidation, as this one has. But with the Iran war and the hype around drones, I think this may have a little bit more staying power. Let's see if it can hold the rest of the day above at least 160.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Here's the thing. I got a pretty big fair value gap on this intraday chart. The top end of this is 141. The problem with this is that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to trade because the gap area is so wide, you wouldn't want to put a stop near the bottom of this. I would kind of be looking for maybe 123, maybe 120 as the area in here. I think if the price gets anywhere between 120 and 142 and stops breaking down, we might have a potential for a rebound here on PRSO. So this is one of the things that I'm going to be looking at here today. We'll see if we get a trade opportunity on that. Okay, the next one on the list is going to be Dawn. This looks like this is a takeover, right?
I didn't cover that one.
Agreed to acquire Day One Biopharmaceuticals, $21.50 per share in cash, no trade. Let's move on. The next one here is going to be CRE. This is Create Enterprise Limited. This stock is up 47% here. This is up on one of our favorite, I don't even know if I want to call it our favorite catalyst, but this is up on one of those catalysts that we see all of the time.
Yep.
Create Enterprise regains NASDAQ compliance. Yep, that's it. That's the catalyst. Quick peek at the short interest, 0.92% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, the stock is in a complete and total ghost town. 55,000 shares on average traded. Today, it's done 15.5 million versus a float of 1.1 million. Here's what the chart looks like. Big impulse move. Sank beneath the VWAP. We've kind of drifted back lower here, but it looks like the selling has slowed down, dare I say. 13, what say you on this chart?
Well, first of all, good morning, Jay. And secondly, on this chart, this has got a 1.1 million share float because we did go through a 1 for 12 reverse split back in last month. That's part of the NASDAQ compliance recapture there. Company does have cash and revenue, so don't think they're going to have to raise any capital as a result of that. And they seems like they didn't. So don't think I'm really worried about their cash position and their revenue. I think that's okay. As far as the chart goes, we had all the fund price action yesterday, and we haven't really done a whole lot since except leak lower. We are coming down to a support area around 385. We're just right on the doorstep of that. Hopefully we'll get some support, because if we do, then we want to see a recapture of basically all the EMAs except for the 200. Every single one of them besides that one, the 200 is now above the price. Let's get above those, the 65 EMA, looking for a recapture of the VWAP. I have that at 472. So lots of space it needs to cover in order to turn around here, but I'm getting the sense that this is either going to bottom here, or we're just going to open and fall right straight down to the 200 and get support there and then turn around. But right now, not looking like something that is really exciting, but I think we'll get some better trades to happen after we open.
Okay, we'll see. This one for me is going to have to set up. I have zero interest on this until this shows some type of trade setup here. So
you can see volume too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think volume is going to be a big one. Okay, this probably the stock of the week, right? Or you know what? Let me.
I just completely passed up all the oil names. We know why they're going.
Movers, one of the movers of the week. Yeah. Battle, as 13 just alluded to, no new catalyst here. This is moving on the entire oil theme. But if you take a look at the chart here, nice move yesterday. It was called by our chat members yesterday. Looks the pullback at the end of the day. Now we've kind of drifted back up. So I'd really be looking at this 27.5 area as being fairly significant. Additionally, if you go back to Tuesday, when this thing really had a huge move higher, it was this area that it consolidated it around before the following day falling away from that. So I got to think that this 27.5 to 28 is going to represent some serious upside resistance there. As a quick reminder on this, 29.17% of the float is shorted on this one. So definitely high short interest. The days to cover, though, not alarming at all. Just one. On average, it trades 11.3 million shares, done 6.4 here today. The float's 3.5. So it is near the wheelhouse of what we like to trade. But 13, should I just move on to the next one?
Just real quick on the chart, it looks like if the next attempt that we take up to like 2750, watch for volume to expand. It looks like it's trying to get through that, so we may get a breakout. It's been trying to hammer this very price since yesterday. We got to 2754, and then we absolutely turned around and went straight down. But here we are back up with the second test of the day in the pre-market here. This will be the coming up to the third test now. So watch for that 2750 to see some volume expansion, because we could get a breakout there if this continues. Real quick with what Lion was saying about CRE, I'm not interested in the company. It's print services, financial print services. I don't know that I'm really excited about that either line. So yeah, I agree. They have some work to do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd be with you on that. Okay. Turb, can we do the same thing here, right? This is still part of the whole energy oil theme. It's up here a little bit. This chart to me actually looks like it might want to come in a little bit more, to be honest.
The only other one I looked at was IBG. I know that's a little bit lower now because some others have shuffled around, but it's going to be the same with all the oil names that I saw today. The Battalion Oil, Turbo Energy, and Trio. They're all up on. We know the reason they're up.
Yep, and you could throw Indo in there. You said IBG is the other one that you covered here. Let's take a look at that. This is Innovation Beverage Group. This spiked twice here in the pre-market. It's actually up 18%. It came from 430 yesterday. Looks like it printed a high here of about 8.5. Let me take a look at the news and see what's going on this one. No, I don't have, this is old. I don't have any news on this. Quick peek at the short interest, then I'll turn it over to 13 here. 2.89% of the float shorted, only 1 day to cover. Average volume is 104,000 shares. Today we've done 12 million versus a micro float of, is that 6? Yeah, 614,000. So 13, what do you think here on IBG, India Bravo Golf?
So the newsfeed doesn't explicitly say it, but this company regained NASDAQ compliance back on the 23rd of February. And that's what those Form 6 during that time from like the 20th to the 24th are going to indicate, is that they were going through NASDAQ recompliance. They got it, and now they're good to go. They also have earnings on the 17th, just like CRE does. But I think because of the 614,000 share float, this just got picked up and pushed around like we've seen with some of these other really low float names this week, because I think it's just a little bit of a delayed reaction because I don't think this really moved when it regained compliance. I'd have to go back and look at the 23rd and 4th. So I don't think that there's any particular news this is going on, but the fact that it got picked up as a low float to be pushed around and it got NASDAQ recompliance that kind of went under the radar are the couple of reasons I would pin on this moving.
Okay. I'm going to highlight this because I think there are several folks today that unfortunately just need a laugh. And Forever to Bitcoin or Bury the Goat is going to bring it to us here today. I got breaking news that we're breaking here on the show. Beyond Meat has dropped meat from its name. We're now Beyond the Plant Protein Company, or simply Beyond. So get ready for $30 a share. Oh. Jokes are good.
Yeah.
Jokes are good. Oh, man, is that funny? Okay. Okay, really good stuff here. Is there anything else from the movie?
Just because it worked for strategy doesn't mean it's going to work for Beyond.
That was very well done. Honestly, did not have that on my bingo card at all. Very, very well done. Look, was there anything else off the movers list that you wanted to take a look at? I know the chat had a lot of stocks earlier when Mark was on. We did not have the time to get to them. Let's look at those.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. This is what we're going to do. I'm flipping over to the chart tool. We are going to start with Broadcom because I think of all of the stocks that were suggested, Broadcom was the one that was suggested the most. And lo and behold, we have an interesting chart post earnings here. 13, I'm going to use the washroom. I will be right back. Take it away.
All right. So yesterday, following the earnings of Broadcom, we did get a lift back over the 200-day SMA on the daily chart. But we ended up getting rejected at the 50-day SMA. Wouldn't you know it? This is something that's been happening since December. Since we lost the 50-day SMA on December 12th, every day since then that's tried to recapture that particular moving average has failed. Failed on January 2nd, failed on January 13th, failed on February 9th, and several days in February. And now March 5th is the latest to fail there. But we are still holding above the 200-day SMA. So for me, I would, if I'm going to be looking for some more upside here, I want to see that 200-day SMA along with a 320 handle hold up. I think this is going to be the spot where we want to see the price action not start closing beneath, because if we do, then I think that we could end up falling towards 300 again. Let me look at a longer time frame, see if there's anything that stands out there. So, okay, so when I go to a weekly chart, wouldn't you know it, this is indicating that if we do end up going down to 300, you have support with the 50-week moving average. That's going to be just under 300. So making 300 looking like a really good spot for the price to go to if we cannot hold above the 200-day SMA. On the monthly chart, it's in a little bit more of a concerning situation where some of these moving averages are. But I don't think that we're going to see the 20-month SMA prices, at least not right now. I haven't found anything that's really convinced me that we'll go down this low. But that value is going to be at 260.63. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it just seems right now that it's going to be unlikely that this goes down that low. We just really need to see this hold above the 200-day SMA and eventually recapture that 50-day SMA, because those are the two big levels that I'm currently keeping an eye on, especially that 50-day SMA that has suppressed the price since December.
Okay. Really good stuff and good timing there. We're going to do Amazon next. I am actually worried about our friend Izzy's heart. And if we don't go to Amazon soon, he might have a doctor's visit to come up with here. Here's the thing about Amazon. Now, we are down 2.44% today, so perhaps that throws a wrench into this. But we got a lot of things going on in the area that we're at right now. 13, I'm just going to roll through a couple of them. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. First of all, we have this sideways area. I am fairly certain that you and I talked about this, although I can't remember if it was the morning or the afternoon show, but this area, I basically extended this purple area out. This has been a consolidation chop zone. Now, if we zoom in a little bit, we are in the process of trying to fill a gap up to about, what do I have this at? 222.75. And right above that, we have the 200-day and the 50-day. And yes, that means that if we don't keep trading up here and we roll over, guess what's happening? The death cross. So we want to avoid that, right? And if we find some resistance there and roll back over, we're probably going to be looking at this trend line. This is a fairly long-term trend line too. Yeah, this originates back in 2023, I think at the beginning. Yeah, January of 2023. So a couple of things are going to happen here, at least on the daily. Izzy, I don't have the feel for this stock that you do to day trade it every single day, but looking at the daily chart here, we're in the chop zone. We, in a more near term, we do have a gap to fill, and we have some targets right above that. So maybe if there's any strength and we overshoot that, that's possible here. But keep your eye on that 50 crossing through the 200. Death cross might be on deck. 13, what do you think?
I have several things about this. So first of all, I've been seeing news that some of their data centers have been hit by Iranian strikes. So that's already not good news to start with. We don't want to see that if we're still trying to be on the tech trade. Now, a couple of things here with the chart. You already pointed out the potential death cross we have here. Yes, I've drawn a line at 212, and I've just put it out there and let it and try to use to see how that looks across multiple time frames, like the weekly and the monthly. This is going to be a spot 212, in my opinion. In addition to that, you also have the fact that we've been leaning on the 50-week SMA for support until the first week of February, when we lost it. We have not been able to recapture that. And this week, we tried to get above it, but we were rejected. So I think that's not a great looking signal there. That could indicate that we are still struggling to go higher. And I think that's even more pronounced on the monthly chart. Now, we are going to end this week underneath that 50-week SMA, but if we can recapture the 20-month SMA, we might be okay for a little while longer, but we are still currently beneath that. And I think that 212 level that we just talked about here, we're going to want to see the month close above that as well, because I think that's going to be a bit of a line in the sand as to how this performs after March.
Okay. All right. Really good breakdown there on Amazon. Yeah, Izzy, we love you too, man. We love you too here. All right, Big B's, you wanted to take a look at USO, and gosh, we've taken a look at all of these other smaller oil stocks. We might as well take a look at USO. This is going to be the United States Oil Fund. Here we go. This thing going from 6 to midnight as we speak right now. 105, gapping up another 9% here. I guess the first question I have is, do we hold this gap or do we come back in? If you continue to zoom out, look where we gapped to. This sure looks like a previous resistance area that we broke away from. It was also back in 2015 a support area. I would say 130 would be the next upside target here. But 13, I'm curious, what do you see here in this USO chart?
Yeah, that 105 area does look like it's been a previous resistance area, especially since the price came down to this, this $100 area back in 2015. And we went sideways up until, basically COVID. Now we're back up to those pre-COVID levels, which is nice to see. But when I look at these longer-term charts, I still get the sense that we're going to be experiencing some more upside resistance levels. Now, that's not to say that we couldn't still go higher, but to me, if we get up to 120, that's going to be an area where I think we could experience some significant resistance and maybe pull back a little bit. So totally think that we could still extend higher, but 120 would be the next area that I think we could see some pretty stiff resistance. 120 to 125 would be my
okay. Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you there on USO. That would be my next target too if this continues. Lion, I know that you were talking earlier about the CL price. You were saying if this conflict continues, you could see CL first at 100. You had said 94. I think that was your short entry. Correct me if I'm getting this wrong. I'm just going from memory. I believe you said 94, and then after that 100. It will be very interesting to see if USO corresponds with that at all. As an aside here, Lion, maybe you don't, and that's okay too, but let me know if you have any target based on your thesis on where USO might go, and then share that with the group, if you would not mind. Big B's, I'd like to hear how you're playing this as well. You've been really, really sharp on a lot of these trades. If you would not mind sharing that with the group, I'm all ears on that one.
Real quick, one stock that we were talking about yesterday because we had some news on it, SOC. This hasn't moved yet off that news, and this has a high short interest as well. So I think this one we're going to want to absolutely keep on our radar. The news is that, and I know this came out early in the morning yesterday, but there was news throughout the day on it, and it's basically saying that the United States Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, says U.S. considers emergency powers for the Sable oil project. I know that there's been a lot of talk around that, but I think what the catalyst is going to be is when that actually happens, that this starts to go and we see that short squeeze.
Interesting. Now, I'm glad that you brought this up because before you got on here today, I shouted out 08 Roush Stage 3 because he was pounding the table here before all this news came out, and we are getting a great move already. Now, to your point, maybe there's some more juice left in the squeeze. Meat on the bone. I don't know, folks, but maybe there's some more room for this to trade up here. Just a really good day yesterday. We'll see if we get another one. I know it's down 0.72% here, but let's see how this trades here today. Okay. Let's see
how low can airlines go. Some may end up going lower than others. You're seeing a lot of routes cut off as a result of the conflict in Iran. I think you might see Delta perform a little bit better because they have their own jet fuel refineries. So fuel impacts may not be as devastating to them as it could be for some other airline companies. But I think the number of routes is really going to be what hammers down the airlines, in addition to the rising fuel costs.
Okay. The other thing to keep in mind regarding those route cancellations is airlines that have more international routes or derive more of their revenue from international flights are going to be impacted more than those that travel domestically here. And that would be one thing to figure into the calculus if you're trying to figure out how low some of these are going to go. Any of those airlines hedge oil. Doesn't Delta and United hedge oil, Jay? I know Delta has its own refining capabilities, but I'm going from memory. You know what? That is a great question to ask Perplexity. I will go ahead and do that here when I get a chance. But Jay, if you know the answer right off the top of your head, let us know.
And United Airlines does have the most international routes, so I would expect them to probably be the most affected by this.
Which ones do?
United.
Okay.
United, and then that's followed up by American Airlines and Delta.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. I know Love used to. Jane saying, I think Southwest does here. Let's see.
I think that ended. I'm not sure though, but I thought that ended with them. I could be completely wrong about that. So definitely worth a look.
Okay. Here you go. Most U.S. carriers, Delta, American, and United, exited systematic fuel hedging roughly a decade ago and instead rely on scale and contract with suppliers. Southwest Airlines, historically one of the most active hedgers, but it has decided to drop its fuel hedging policy and it remains hedged only partially to cover fuel needs through 2027. Now, a list of a list of stocks that do indeed hedge. They look to all be international. So EasyJet from the UK, Ryanair from Ireland, Air France, Lufthansa, Qantas, Wizz Air, which I've never heard of, Virgin Australia, and Air New Zealand, Singapore Airlines, and Iceland Airlines all have hedging policies for oil. That was a good question and a really good use of the AI tool. Good, really good. Really good there on Delta. Okay.
Speaking of AI, those job numbers didn't look too hot.
Nope. And the market sold off on it.
Yep, sure did. That's one of the things we were talking about. We were just last night. The jobs report combined with the 1 week mark since these Iran strikes began could lead to further market weakness into the weekend. We were getting the sense that there may not be as robust of an appetite to hold stocks through this weekend, since it'll be like the 1 week mark since it's all began. I think there would be, because we could get some major developments over the weekend that could end up sinking stocks lower by the time Monday rolls around. So I think this is very much risk off in a lot of aspects, not for oil, but for a lot of other names.
Yeah. And what's interesting about that, we've all been kind of clamoring for a pullback here. Perhaps this is what we need. Remember, the seasonality that we've looked at says that this should bottom some point around mid-March. We'll see if we end up getting that. It's only a couple of weeks away.
That's a great point there, Crim Biscuit. The job numbers decrease as more people hitting the like on pre-market. So let's see if we can continue that. Let's get some more likes going.
What are we at, producer? What are we at? Let me know. Let's get a check in here. I haven't done this in a while, and maybe I should have. I will ask nicely here. Please smash the like button with the quickness.
And Jay, it's probably just a broad sell-off, because some of these I can totally see that they're just not having any kind of strength. I think that there's just a lot of risk off going into this weekend.
Okay,
that there could be expansion of this.
I'm being told that we only have 69 likes now. Well, that might be nice to the internet meme folks. We need to get this into triple digits. We
needs to be 42069.
Yeah, we have less than a minute till we open. We really need to get this into triple digits. I need you folks to do some work here. I need some folks to do some work here. I swear, if we had a like pressed for every person that wanted to talk about politics here, we'd have like 1,000 likes a day. So let's maybe channel that energy into something productive here and like the stream. Now, I know we're open, but really quick, 13. You're asking why Ondas is trading down when it gets news of a new contract. If you take a look, all of the defense names have been kind of trading down together. In addition, as we've discussed a number of times, Ondas has a very big FinTwit following, and with the market weakening, I can absolutely see the weak hands moving for the door. I am still long and strong. Okay, PRSO, what do we got, 13?
All right, so a little bit lower out of the gate here. MACD is indicating that momentum has started to swing to the downside here. We'll look for some VWAP support. If we don't get that, we could end up coming down to 125 for support. But we're turning around already.
Okay, PRSO not only, I actually have it going towards the VWAP, but it did not even print it, and that is still farther away from the fair value gap, which I will redraw here on this chart. Boop, boop.
Bit of a fight around 180 right now.
Okay.
Could do one.
Okay.
Let's see. Meanwhile, TPET, this is coming up to some of the pre-market highs. We might be able to draw a trend line here from some of the peaks in the pre-market to give us an indication of where this price might go to. And that could take us to about close to the highs from yesterday. Looks like 235. Maybe even we extend beyond that and go to 250. But 235 looks like the could be the resistance area if we pop past the pre-market highs today. Turb lower, testing this 200 EMA right now. Battalion Oil, this looks like it dropped beneath the 65 EMA, recaptured it. Now we're trying to burst through that 2750 area where we were talking about earlier this morning. That was the highs from yesterday as well.
BATL, this is going for that pre-market high as we speak.
All right.
Okay. Whoa. You guys, thank you. Producer is telling me that in less than a minute, you guys got that from 69 to 138. There we go.
Fantastic.
There you go. Thank you.
This is an ask and you shall receive crowd. I like it.
Hey, I am grateful for each and every one of you that clicked that button here today. Each and every one of you. Awesome.
No, I don't dabble in futures, Daniel. Battalion through that resistance area we talked about, coming back down though.
By the way,
2781.
PRSO, that little head fake there, it's in. That might be a little too much.
It faked the heads.
It might have been an actual head fake there. PRSO. Oh, now I've got all kinds of trouble going on here, Ryan.
But we're still holding above VWAP. I mean,
I wanted to break this VWAP.
Yeah, I think this looks like it's trying to come back in. Like there's some selling happening here. MACD's indicating the momentum's to the downside. So I would anticipate that this comes in. But we'll see if buyers step in. If you want to watch that one, go for it. Cycling around, look at Battalion go now. This is what we wanted to see.
Okay, sorry, I'm a little too slow there today. I apologize. Let me go back to Battalion here. I'm still going to watch PRSO on another chart here, because if that comes in and holds that top half of that fair value gap area, I might try that.
Thanks, Canap or Canap. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but thank you.
You ask, we perform. I will take that. Here in battle. This continues to. Is anyone still on this one?
Turb trying to turn around here, getting support from the 200 EMA. Need to see more volume out of this thing though. T-Pet, here we go. Right to our trend line that we just talked about, through it, and now right back beneath it. So hopefully we can get some support from let's say the 225 area if it comes back in, and then maybe we can go higher. But nice to see that trend line got a taste, and we're above it right now, but we're in some pretty heavy consolidation as well.
250 should be that next spot there.
Yeah, that's what I would be thinking.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so PRSO, that's now back. That's now coming through VWAP. So Brian getting his wish.
Indeed, and look at this. So Dawn, I just saw that. Remember, this is the one that was acquired, and there was no trade on this. I see an unusual call sweep. This is actually a sale. These were the 13 calls, 237 of them. Trader collected 192K off that. Given the move here, 65% move, that was a banger of an options trade for whoever took that one. That's for sure a closing order there. Here's a look at Marvell, by the way, which is up at the after hours high. So this is actually bucking the overall market here. Tech is actually faring better than the S&P. Marvell here, after hours highs from yesterday. This would be a resistance area.
So we didn't talk about this, by the way. MDB is having a good morning as well. I started cycling through some other names.
You know what, I'm glad that you're saying that, 13. I'm sorry for interrupting you, because MDB was one of the stocks that was on the list that folks wanted to look at earlier. So let's just do that now.
Okay, and then we can also look at AMPX, because that just tapped over 15 again. But yeah, so MDB, let's go to that real quick. And let me pull up a daily chart. Okay, because I was just cycling through it. I noticed it was up. This was kind of trading in a bit of a triangle, but that was a while ago. I should probably delete some of these drawings, because it looks like we have more of a double bottom here. Looking at the 150 area is providing some support on two different instances now. One from November of 22, and now the Liberation Day from April of 25. We got a double bottom there. We looked like we were.
Wait, what ticker are you looking at?
MDB on a monthly.
Oh, on a monthly. Excuse me.
I didn't say specifically a monthly, but we did end up double bottoming there around 150. So I'm sorry that you can't see that, because we are going back into some time.
It's right here. Now that I'm on the monthly chart, I see exactly what you're talking about. That's my bad.
It's okay. And man, I really wish your charts would show more time, because back in 2019 to 2020, this had some consolidation right in that 112 to 155 area. So both times we've been down there for in 2022 and Liberation Day, we were getting support from that consolidation, and we also have a trend line that I think we may have drawn that was indicating where the resistance was on the upside. So
yep, still have that, by the way.
We need to see this thing start to come back up above the 20 and 50-day SMAs. It's looking like we're getting support around the 230 area, which is the lows of the area between the bottom, the two bottoms, and just need to see some of these levels get recaptured. So 300, really need to see the price recapture that level. I think that's the next area of resistance we need to see taken out.
Okay. By the way, so good stuff there on MDB. Hopefully that was helpful for you. PRSO, so far, this is a straight up bounce from the VWAP. So I'm trying to wait for the fair value gap, but it looks like we tried to bounce. Oh boy, you had to be fast on that. That was kind of nasty. Bounce from that VWAP there, about 154. I've got the high print as 190 on PRSO, and it came all the way back in, almost 30 cents in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure about PRSO right now. I mean, it's great that it's holding above VWAP, but the MACD is indicating that it's just, it's kind of coming into the downside. So, maybe we don't go too far beyond the VWAP, but I think I'd wait for another 5-minute candle before I decide what I want to do with this.
And one more thing here. Daniel's saying, don't trust PRSO. Daniel, I'm in your camp here. I do not trust this from this VWAP bounce, especially after what we just saw in this last 5-minute candle.
Okay.
I would much prefer that this flush out more of those weaker hands and then maybe give us a reversal signal in the gap area.
GPET trying to push through the seller at 240 right now. There's a large seller on the way at that price, trying to get through it. Finding resistance for now, but just need some more volume, and that seller gets taken out. We may see 250 after that.
SPY trying to put in a bottom here around 671. I don't know how great I feel about that yet, and I don't have any buy signal on that yet. Also thinking about it, Peraso and Portillo's are merging in order to get a buy rating from Ryan. Let me tell you something right now. Merging with Portillo's is not a way to get on Ryan's good side. Ryan is still mad at Portillo's. Ryan is going lean and not eating Italian beefs right now because Portillo's did him dirty. So no buy rating for that. Thinking about it, none. BATL, so we did have that pop above the high and we've pulled back in here. I would want to see if that holds up on VWAP. PRSO still holding out near VWAP after that pullback. And Marvell, did we take out those highs? No, Marvell's still at that 88 resistance area.
Yeah, so for Marvell, we know that we had top and bottoms earning beat with significant first quarter guidance that represents basically 100% year-over-year growth in sales. So I think that's one of the big reasons Marvell started going. And then during the conference call, the company laid out multiple segment revenue growth guidance all the way through fiscal year 2029. So I think that roadmap really gave investors confidence to pick this thing up. And I think that's one of the big reasons why it's so much higher now.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on Marvell. Oxy was another stock that you folks had asked about. Oxy here, this is, again, in the same theme that we had talked about for the bigger stocks and for the smaller stocks. Oxy right to that 55 pre-market high, pulled back here, but holding right around its VWAP. Let me take a look at a daily and see if there's anything that jumps off this chart. Yeah, okay. So 55 and 56 are definitely going to be your spots here today. If it can get above that, maybe we can make a move towards 60. Good morning, Ryan Milligan.
Good morning, Mr. Milligan.
Boss, good to see you.
Got a mention here from Webcoin on EONR. This is a penny name, but I drew a trend line here as soon as you mentioned it. I started with yesterday's high, drew it through the pre-market high, and now we've just broken over that.
I see, said the blind man.
Also, CRE getting a mention here. This did get support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. It is making its way up through the EMAs we had talked about, on its way up to VWAP. This is everything that we had that I just mentioned back in pre-market that we wanted to see with this. So should be testing VWAP here shortly. PRSO also coming up. Battalion trying to find some of its footing. And TPET looks like this is setting up to try and take out that 240 seller again, but we'd have to hold above, I think, 220, 225 if we're going to do that. EONR, here we go. New highs.
PRSO, Daniel, I'm okay missing this if it does, in fact, bounce from the VWAP. Just steel manning your position of not trusting this here. Which one? TPET?
The last one I looked at was EONR. That just put in some more highs. And Mr. Milligan, I'm glad that AMPX worked out really well for you because that one has been fantastic.
Excellent.
This is very much in the drone theme. It's climbing as I talk about it right now, which is something I always love to see. We have some resistance at 1540 and 1550. Those are the next large amounts of sellers, and this is getting a little spread. So not sure how much greater this is going to be here with, how thin it's starting to get. But, over the long term, I think this will be just fine. So don't want to disrupt any trade plans you have with AMPX. I've already trimmed, some of this yesterday, and just waiting for some more highs.
You know the motto of our show, handing out winners every day and night. Okay, had to get that one in there. Jim in Alabama says, I haven't heard IC said the blind man in a long time. Thanks. What's interesting about that? My dad used to say that to me all the time. Rest in peace, Dad. So it just kind of popped in there. I'm glad someone else recognized that. I'm glad you said something. Glad to make your day.
I get the sense that AMPX, we're probably going to see 16, but that is the resistance area from October on the monthly chart. So not sure if we're going to get a whole lot more upside beyond 16 without maybe back testing some previous levels, like maybe halfway through in the 14 handle. We need to, if we do get to 16 and we start to weaken, I would think that we need to come back in and find some support before we push higher.
Do you have any support? Like, I'm looking at this, maybe 1250 to 13. This would represent a consolidation area on a possible pullback.
I've got just the support area for you. I think you'll love it. So go to a daily chart.
Got it.
And you see October 15th, the high there.
October 15th. Yep.
Okay. Draw the trend line through the February 3rd high.
Oh gosh.
And that is where I would want to see the back test to occur.
Got it. Okay. So you'd want a pretty good hold there, right? You don't necessarily want to see this break. Okay, gotcha.
I would like to see this make new 52-week highs, which is going to be obviously beyond the October highs. And then once we do that, probably end up seeing some sellers take their profits as the price comes back in. When that happens, I'm going to want to see this trend line hold up.
Okay. Retro saying, Ryan, are you still in IDAI? Indeed, I am. IDAI. Here's the one thing about that. I just want to remind you, because when we first started talking about this, I had told you that this is high risk. And one of the strategies to deal with this is that I'm going to trade this position, as opposed to what I did with Ondas, where I really kind of held it for a bigger move and then trimmed into the move. This one I'm trading. So yes, I'm still in this. In fact, the last ad here was at 257. I've got my average price down to 301 on IDAI. Here's what I'm saying. If this thing goes back to a 4 handle, I'm trimming half my position. All right. So I'm looking for $1, maybe even $1.20. This had a kind of a shaky warrant deal at 420 from Maxim. So I'm not sure how much more upside it's going to have until something else happens here. We're really waiting on some big news for this, which I hope we get in 2026. Yes, I'm still in this. My average price is higher than the current price. I've added back, and I'm not interested in adding any more until I get the next trade where I'm able to book some gains. I'm working off house money on this one because my initial average was 298. And when it's traded up to, I think, 430 the last time, I ended up selling half of it there. So now we've come back in. I've added back that half, and I'm just kind of waiting on this, but I'm being very, very careful. Please understand that this stock is high risk. It does have the potential to kind of go ham if it gets the right news, but I'm not banking on that, and I'm going to try to trade around that to lower my cost basis and book gains so that I don't, if it doesn't work, I don't want to take a big hit on it.
Just keeping an eye on TPET. This is trying to get back above the VWAP here. Just need to see some volume expansion, and we could get the moves that we're waiting for here.
Whoever asked me about why is Ondas selling off when it gets a new contract, how you feeling now?
Day and night.
UMAC Ripper. Let's look at UMAC, I guess. Let's look at UMAC.
PRSO is continuing its bounce, unable to get near that 180 high, though. I'd be very careful. I would not be afraid to take gains on this VWAP bounce that we're getting. Here's UMAC. Okay, all of the drone names just ripping.
1750 is a little bit of a concerning level. We've been up there more than once. Looks like twice in the past several months. Need to see a close above 1750 on a monthly chart. Now, we do have earnings on Monday, so maybe that provides the lift that we need to get above and close above that 1750 area on a monthly chart. It's just a very, very standout level. No closes above it since actually November of 2024, and then even then, the very next month, we were right back down. So that's going to be a big spot for me for UMAC. Need to see a close above 1750.
Okay. I've got a new unusual options trade for you, courtesy of the unusual options algorithm housed here at Benzinga Pro. New trade here, TSM put buyer, 300 put that expires July 17th. That is the monthly July contract for this year. Trader bought 900 300 puts, spent 1.71 million. Those are out of the money, deep out of the money puts on TSM. $1.9 million bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what's his concern?
Well, so this could be one of two things, and maybe I'd ask Anne-Marie for a little bit more insight on this. Number one, maybe they feel like you, and that TSM is the actual like P1 awesome backbone of the AI trade, and they're saying, you know what, tech might be rolling over, the market looks weak here. TSM maybe will sell some puts down at 300. Be okay getting assigned down there if we come down there because the future's bright for TSM. So that's one aspect of it. Although I don't know that you would sell 900. I mean, that's balances and trade size that I can't fathom. I'm not sure that you would sell that many. That's kind of what I would ask Anne-Marie. Otherwise, you think two other things. A, this market's coming back in for a sizable correction and the AI names are not going to be hideout places. Or B, and perhaps less likely, they think maybe you're going to get an impending move from China on Taiwan, although I don't see that.
I think that if that's the reason he's taking that trade, that might be a mistake. He's going to lose
bigly.
That might be a mistake, yeah.
He's going to lose bigly on that. I don't know that that's the case, but the other thing is that was sold. If that was sold and you collect that much premium and those expire worthless, get a vacation house.
Oh, we will discount China because ever since Xi Jinping's been purging his military, there has been fractures. It makes a Taiwan invasion look much, much less likely.
Yep.
And that 2027 timeline, that was from years ago. The narrative has changed. I don't think 2027 is necessarily going to be the time to do it. And if Xi just does try to do it, it's going to be a failure. Yeah, China has major military issues right now. That's absolutely true.
Yep. So all of those drone names continuing here: UMAC, Arcat, Ondas. If someone asked about AVAV earlier, I think. Let's see if that is also responding here. So this is not as big as the move in some of those smaller names, but indeed moving to the high end here.
Looks like some of these petroleum names starting to turn around here. Bitcoin absolutely getting hammered, which is pretty much something that I've been waiting for this to come back in. We should be chopping around for a while with Bitcoin. Putting in a bottom. I don't think that we're going to see a recovery soon. We're going to see a lot more chop, maybe even some lower prints before we turn around here. And that's just been the case with Bitcoin. Every time a rally is over, when it comes back in, we find a bottom around the area from the previous high, the previous highs of a former rally, and we kind of chop around in there for a while until we get get closer to the halving event, and then after the halving event, we start to go on a rally again. So. That's what we're waiting for with Bitcoin. The halving event is supposed to happen in sometime in March or April of 2028.
Zach mentioning that UAVS also had news. This one only up 0.8 here. This was invest in Aerodrome Group, and the terms are not disclosed. So I would imagine that with the terms not being disclosed, you're probably not getting the move that you had hoped. But this, given what some of the other smaller drone names are doing, this seems like relative weakness. Market is trying, the selling here is trying to stop. Still no buy indicator on the SPY as of yet, though, for a potential bounce. Not sure I trust this. NASDAQ actually looks a little bit better on this bounce so far, but it's early.
So yeah, Jay, that is mostly what is happening here with going after Iran. It's and that's what he's been doing by going after Venezuela as well. Weakening China's geopolitical influence. I don't think China's behind in AI. They just are trying to find the right word. I don't necessarily think they're behind, but they're close. But they just have limited advanced technology on that side, because they're still getting a lot of their components from like NVIDIA and outside sources. But they're trying to be more reliable, and they're trying to self-reliable, and they're trying to make AI their next. It's going to be their next overcapacity product that they make. They just had a 2 sessions meeting where the focus is going to be on AI, and they're going to try and get some of these foreign banks like JP Morgan. It's foreign to them. JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, to try and bring some of these AI companies to market using Hong Kong as a fundraising hub. I think there's significant risk with that if these foreign companies end up doing that, given how bad China is with money. You just got to look at their local governments and see how in the toilet they are. But I don't necessarily think that China's behind AI. There is going to be significant investment going into AI, especially through Hong Kong. So that's something that we have to look forward to. But I don't think that the invasion and capture of Taiwan is necessarily going to give them leaps into chip making, because Taiwan's already said that if that ends up happening, they're just going to kill their fabs. They're not going to let China have it. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. But there's a lot of back and forth about what's going to happen with Taiwan as it relates to China.
Really quickly, I'm going to clean up some of the comments here. First of all, Trey Blue, I absolutely love this. FYI, I'm fairly new here past couple of weeks. I appreciate you two for the morning education and entertainment. That's what we do here. We love having you here. Tell your friends. Be sure to smash up the like. And also, Trey, I would like to return the compliment to you, because despite being new around here, you contribute on a regular basis. And I am a firm believer that varying opinions of different that come from different places actually raises the level for everybody else in here. Your experience, how long you've been doing this, it almost doesn't even matter, I want to say. If you're providing insight, if you're providing helpful context to any of the things that we're discussing, I have a tough time viewing that as anything but positive. So keep it up, boss. We're happy to have you here. Moto Guru is asking, any thoughts on USO? We had talked about USO probably before you jumped on here. Big Bees, I appreciate you outlining this trade plan. Lion, when we were talking with this about Lion earlier, I think he said that 115 might be a next area here, so 10 points away from where we're currently at. Big B's here saying, I'm taking the Wednesday 120 call. I'm just going to wait this out. Lots of oil-related news, likely not going to resolve in 3 days, and I'm expecting USO to be over 115 by Monday. A full exit Monday is my plan. Big B's, where's the right one? Thank you for sharing the entire trade plan here. I think stuff like this is extremely helpful. So appreciate that.
Turb got a pop and went right back up to the 65 EMA that's been suppressing the price action to the upside since about 7:05 this morning. Daniel, that's one of the things that has been discussed about what China could end up doing to kind of slowly take over Taiwan, is to do a blockade. But there's been also a lot of other conversations by regional strategists about potentially stationing U.S. Nuclear weapons in Japan and Taiwan and the Philippines and other Asian countries as a deterrent to China's modernization and expansion of their own nuclear capabilities, and because they've been talking about invading Taiwan so much. Now, I understand that that's a massive heightened tension. It could be a global crisis if that ends up happening. But so would the invasion of Taiwan. So you kind of got to do this a little bit. Do you want Taiwan invaded, or do you want to have nuclear weapons stationed in that region so that they don't get invaded? That's been the conversation among regional strategists lately.
Kathy here mentioning CIEN. Nice bounce off the 50-day yesterday. It's up 2% here today. And Kathy, furthermore, it actually looks like this is trying to maybe push a little bit higher here too. Dare I say that? Yesterday, this thing really fell, man. It fell from like 344 down to, did we break 3? Yeah, wow. To 297. Oh, no, more than that. Yeah, 279. I beg your pardon. So maybe we get a nice little kind of a regression back to the mean bounce here. Let's see if we can clear this area out. 306, 307, CIEN.
AMPX 1598, now the high, just on the doorstep of 16, where we were just talking about this thing potentially going. I think that, let's see, is this the spot I was looking at here? Come on, chart, come on. because I think this is where I was saying earlier, we might start to see some weakness here, and certainly we started to get a little bit of brightness in that candle. But this is about where the October high was from the 15th. I would think that we start to see a little bit of resistance here. There's one thing that I saw that I wanted to ask. So Print Biscuit, I think China paying attention to U.S. capabilities in Venezuela and Space Force in Iran. Absolutely, 100% they are. They're paying attention to everything that we're doing, and they're kind of there's certain actions they're trying to take. But yes, absolutely 100%. China, Russia, they're absolutely monitoring everything that we're doing, and in some cases probably wondering where they went wrong.
Daniel, how about this? I know we got a little bit of a bounce there from the VWAP, but look at this, rolling back over. I expect PRSO here to re-challenge the VWAP and probably snap this to the downside.
TPET back up through VWAP, trying to go up to the 240 high. We are coming back into contact with the trend line we drew earlier that we popped above at the open. So that's going to be resistance until we can push above it, because there is still sellers in the way at 240, now at 242 as well. Lots of shares in the way.
Samsara here. Indeed, this looks like this is breaking out from the pre-market sideways area. We are up to resistance from the impulse move yesterday, but and also I'm actually seeing some call buying here as well. The one thing to keep in mind here, though, is that if this thing snaps this, we might go on a run, and 13, this is for you. Maybe we do get a Philip Seymour Hoffman style fly and move here. IoT. Watch this area from yesterday's after hours.
I know what IoT stands for. So obviously,
Internet of Things. Yeah.
Right. So we should be seeing a lot of okay. So end-to-end solutions. All right.
And by the way, I neglected to mention this. Shame on me, but this is on the back of its earnings report. Better than expected Q4 financial results and guidance above estimates. So the trifecta there.
And look at the pullback here in AMPX. As soon as we came close to hitting 16, that October 15th area kind of telling us that's where some sellers are, that's where some resistance is. And with how thin this name is right now, it's like kind of spready. I would expect this to come back into at least the VWAP.
Lion, take care. Have a great weekend. Going to work in my garden. Love it.
Get ready,
absolutely, man. Absolutely love that. Get it ready. Let me ask you really quick before you dip.
Yeah, what you growing?
What are you growing, and what's your favorite thing in the garden? And thinking about it, hold the joke, man. We're not talking about cannabis here. I want to know what kind of vegetables Lion is growing there. And he owns a restaurant. He must cook. So I got to think that Lion's got some pretty good stuff in his garden there.
Well, I mean, if he's got a restaurant and he's pulling that for his restaurant, I would imagine maybe some onions, tomatoes, things that are generally in a lot of restaurant dishes. But
jalapenos,
chilies, different chilies, absolutely, that'd be great. Potatoes potentially, zucchinis. You growing zucchinis, dude?
Excuse me, the proper term is taters. Okay, can we just agree on that? I'm just kidding. 13.
All right, AMPX almost came down to that VWAP, starting to get a little bit of an inside candle here. I don't know that we're going to blast through 16, but because of how spready this is.
Thinking about it, man.
I have to look at AIFF. We've been asked about this.
I've got it on screen, so just go off, King. This thing's going up to 2. But I just got to say here, thinking about it, I so appreciate your sense of humor. Man, you make me smile. You make me smile even when I'm trying to poke fun. Really, really good stuff.
Well, clearly AIFF wants to recapture 2. A couple of attempts here so far hasn't happened. We've been rejected just above 2 and pulled back in here. But we're still hanging out just on the doorstep of $2. So it looks like there's some sellers in the way up higher into the 2 handle, like around 210. Do you have something to say?
I was just going to say it's actually a pretty good volume pop that looks like it was slightly delayed from the opening print. No fresh news on that, but a decent 38% move on AIFF. This was actually a pretty good winner the other day. We got off the show. This thing went much. This is when we were trading it, right? It dipped back down and kind of held the VWAP. When we got off the show, this thing ripped. So it's got it in it. We've seen it already. PRSO still flirting with holding its VWAP. I got to think that if that thing can't make a move higher, we're going to crack that VWAP and move to the downside.
So I don't know how much of an impact this has on AIFF's move today. But there was news yesterday about how treatments for generalized anxiety disorder are being more accessible. And they listed a number of companies that are active in this biotech space for this particular disorder. And the names include HELP, HELP, Acadia Healthcare, ACHC, Johnson & Johnson, J&J, Brainsway, which is B-Way, B-W-A-Y, and then Firefly Neuroscience, AIFF.
Looks like my days are numbered here at Brainnasium. That's what that reminded me of.
As I was talking about that, we had that breakthrough $2, and it's taken us up to $2.10, where those sellers were. How about that?
Through 11. Get some.
Spicy potatoes. All right.
Get some. Oh, and you know what? Check this out. SPY bouncing here. Did not get a clear entry signal on this, but we are seeing our first bounce in SPY here. We are testing the VWAP. So we are getting resistance at the VWAP. So for this bounce to continue, we are going to need to see some continued strength. And thus far, have not seen the market want to provide that here today.
Oh, man.
Retro, take care of yourself. You're not getting gains in the market, so you're getting gains in the gym. Never a bad plan.
Oh, yeah.
Never a bad plan.
Cash is a position. I'm sitting on a good amount of it because I want to make sure I've got my shopping list ready to be done. You know, I want to buy. There's things I want to buy, just not yet. Make sure you've got your cash ready to go because I'm sure there's some attractive targets you all have in mind.
More dawn calls being closed here. Boy, somebody knew something. They were playing that for a buyout. I gotta think. Possible acquisition. This is another unusual options trade that is absolutely a closing trade, and that must be big gains.
Well, let's see. What are they developing? That might be interesting. Okay, so it's oncology.
Yeah. NVD is up and on the scanner. Okay, so this pulled back. So let me actually take a look at NVIDIA here. And it is so dark and foggy here. We are going to have like rainstorms all day. Here's NVIDIA. So this is actually a pretty nice dip and rip here. And Izzy, now that I'm looking at this, Amazon, I know it gave you one scalp already, but it pulled back again. Do you trust this bounce? And this is VWAP right here at 215.69, right? Yeah. So if this moves through 215.69, if this recaptures the VWAP here, do we have something here?
Amazon? BM&R might have provided a bit of an opportunity here. It fell beneath, it went down to 19 after being in the 20s for a few days.
Here's my thing. I just don't feel great about playing any of these bounces. Now, the bounce that I would be most apt to play would be SPY 0 DTE calls here, but I still don't feel great about that yet. Maybe I'm just behind a little bit.
Well, because I think with all the talk we've been having lately about how great just day trading is compared to swings or holding anything, that's probably why, and I would agree. That's probably why we're kind of thinking that way. But I really want to make sure I've got capital ready for deployment once we do identify some bottoming or some, see the market stop selling off. I think there's going to be some opportunities here, but we also don't want to, get caught in the bounce either.
Kanarup is asking, Ryan, is it time to short Ondas? You do what you got to do, buddy. I am not shorting Ondas. I am long and strong. I have a long-term thesis on this. The thesis has already started to play out. If I were to, I don't even want to say, if I were to trade this to the downside, I would probably be looking at selling puts where we're at right now in order to get assigned if it comes back in. I am not looking to short this. My core position remains. If this thing breaks and makes like if it breaks like the highs, like 15 highs, maybe I'll start looking at selling calls to exit or trim some more that way. That's something else that we have discussed. I have zero interest in shorting this. Don't let my disposition on this stock affect what you're going to do. If you see a short-term move to short here because you think this is going to come back in, you do you, buddy. Just know that I have a long-term view on this.
Yeah, Anne-Marie's getting it right here. Momentum's down. Let's not be a hero. I think that's what this comes down to. We're gonna, you're probably gonna want to think, hey, this is a great opportunity to buy this, this area down here where it's got support. I'm gonna, pick it up and hold on to it, see what happens. let's not be a hero with this stuff. These, we're still in the very early throes of a conflict or geopolitical conflict here. And if you just need to see what can happen when these, get prolonged, just look what happened in 2022 when we were, when Russia invaded Ukraine. That whole year wasn't very good. And of course, we also were getting rate raises, but there's, it's just going to be a major component into potential downside that we're going to experience with markets. So yeah, let's not try to be a hero with any of this.
Yeah, and as far as shorting Ondas, I mean, let's say you're short Ondas, and over the weekend you get a headline that says U.S. government selects Ondas Holdings Golden Drone program for rapid deployment in the Middle East. You're going to come in Monday, and that stock is going to be gapping like you have not seen. And if you are short, you're going to be laying down, trying not to cry, but then ultimately crying. So
the meme popped up in my head.
I mean, I'm trying to recite I'm trying to explain the meme with words. Get in there.
So, we did get a mention about Netflix continuing to move Boo's Ranch.
Yep.
And that, I think he's talk about moving down. Look at a monthly chart and tell me if you like the way that looks.
Before I look at the monthly chart, can I just examine the intraday chart and look at the nastiness of the reversal? This thing made a spike out of the open towards 100, which we have been looking at every single day, and got slapped. Dikembe Mutombo style down to the lows, new lows now. This thing's pulling here. So huge reversal. Now, monthly chart, what do you got?
Just look at it.
Okay.
Oh wait. Well, do you have the EMAs on? Can you turn on the?
Yeah. Let me go to my. Let me go to the appropriate chart here for Netflix, and I just got to click the right thing, Ryan. Just click on the right thing.
Well, Ryan does that. Basketball mentioning that PRSO is about to have its moment, so keep an eye on that if you like. But that's what I'm seeing there with Netflix. We can't recapture that 20-month SMA. I think that we are going to be coming into some of the levels we talked about earlier.
So here you go on Netflix. Let me go back to the main workspace here. Now, as far as PRSO, so remember, when we had looked at this last time, I had told you, look, if this thing doesn't bounce and bounce soon, lower we're going to go. Well, the bounce is coming. So to Basket, is that really his name? Basketball? Basketball. Yeah. Okay. All right. Basketball. If this thing, I'm looking at 175 here. I know we're pulling as we speak here, but a break above 175, maybe then we can go towards, you said had its moment. I'm assuming you mean take the new highs there about 190.
Look at this. Just look at what's been happening with the VWAP on this 5-minute chart. It seems like the buyers do end up stepping in when the price drops beneath VWAP. As soon as we start closing these candles underneath that, where the buyers don't step in, I think that's going to be the signal to not be in this. GEVO breakouts is alpha. Yeah, thinking about it, my whole thing with Netflix right now after giving up on that Warner Brothers trade, yeah, great. They got over $2 billion out of it for what's that term called, where they didn't have the deal go through, so they had to pay Netflix.
The termination clause?
Termination, that's it. Yeah. So that's about the most they got out of this. But to be honest, I really feel like they needed to push hard for that deal because they have a problem with content, and I think that's going to end up hurting them in the long run.
All right. SPY, we were talking about that possibly bouncing. The VWAP told the story. We went to the VWAP. We got slapped down. Now, we did not break the low, so perhaps we make another attempt at that here. VWAP's going to be lower by the time we get back up there.
GEVO moving up here on the heels of earnings from yesterday after hours, where it had a slightly higher beat, but it missed on sales a little bit there. But still moving up. I think that the 14% short interest might have something to do with it, but I don't know how great this is going to, how far out this is going to extend. The float's pretty large, almost 240 million shares. So once this starts to show little signs of weakness, like it's kind of, the upside is sputtering out, that might be the signal for you. I remember trading this. I think we traded this a while back. I just can't remember. This has been on here for a while, hasn't it? GEVO?
Been on where? Sorry, I was reading other stuff.
The exchange. I swear I've seen this before. Maybe even traded it, but it's probably been a long time. Is owned by a few people in Congress. That's good information. Thank you. Let me look and see what that is. We have a nice little tab here about government trades. I don't see anything in here, so I don't know if that's been updated or not, but don't see anything in the government trades. Let me know who you see as got positions in this from Congress.
Sorry, I'm handling something here for a teammate at work.
And then RKLB was also getting mentioned. That's back over 70. That is actually nice bottoming action here over the past couple of days, hitting the 67 area and getting support both on the both yesterday and today. PRSO, I think that mention might have might be holding some water here. We're back up at some of the resistance of 175. We need to see volume expansion that takes us through this, because we have some sellers in the way that we need to get through all the way up to 2. So we need to see big volume here in PRSO. And then Rocket Lab. Second to switch. Oh, okay. So this is moving on some rocket launch news earlier. They had a second successful launch in under a week, which is a massively quick turnaround time. But that's from their New Zealand launch site and their Wallops Island. That's their 83rd mission. I like this. The real big future with this company is going to be their Neutron rocket when they get that going. The unfortunate thing about it is that it's been delayed so many times. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Alpha Trade. Even before last year, though, I think that this was something that I remember trading, and I want to say I saw a lot of this during the COVID era. I may be thinking of a different one, but I could have sworn that's this one. Or you could be right. It's just that you brought this up to us. For Friday with all the craziness, the market is really good today. It's not bad. It's not bad. I was thinking we would see a lot more downside this week, but it hasn't been horrible. However, we are making new lows of the year in the SPY.
Now, interestingly enough, we are making those new lows for the year here, but the SPY today, we are having another bounce attempt here, and actually this one stronger than the first. I did get buy indicators on this.
Well,
I didn't take them though because I was doing work for work.
Do you think, because I think this is a significant development here with the level that we just lost. Do you think that we end up recapturing 676
today?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. The way where I sit right now, 13. I would give that I think that's a coin flip. I'm sorry. That sounds like I'm punting. You know what? I'll change that. Yeah, I do. I think we see a late day surge or an afternoon surge here, and I think we recapture 676. If I don't bet on this, I'm trying to give you one or the other as opposed to punting and saying it's a coin toss. But I think that we could. I think it's a coin flip. But yeah, I'll go on the side of yes. I'll be the bull.
Okay. And I'm not looking just for bulls or bears. I just want to know thoughts. I'm not sure. So that's why I'm asking.
My thought is that what we have seen quite often here is we've seen these mornings look bad, right? We get a data print. The market doesn't like it. The haters come out. They scream about it. And then midway through the morning or around midday, around lunchtime, things kind of change. Now, the target of 676, that is still lower than where we opened. And that is still lower than where we closed. So I mean, that wouldn't even be a complete reversal of what we've done here today. I would say that, yes, that's possible. Dip buyers will move in, says Tom. That's kind of what I think, too.
Okay. And then, yeah, I like the comment from Anne-Marie about how we could see the biggest fighting yet. Also, there was some news that was posted by Crimp Biscuit about the United Arab Emirates freezing billions of Iranian assets. The Strait of Hormuz may be opening in a short time. That's very interesting, because if that... This is just some wild developments. Maybe we do see some more positivity if that's what some of these neighbors in the Gulf states are doing. And then Jay also mentioning Velo has earnings later this month. Nice little red to green. I'm still long that. I think this is going to be a great company in the long run. TVGN reverse split runner. We've had several reverse splits that we were looking at today. Some of the NASDAQ compliance ones had recent reverse splits. And you're saying this one just did a reverse split. Look at this move go. This thing is almost 2x'd just today. Let's see here. When did it do a reverse split? It was earlier this month, actually just a couple of days ago. Maybe it, oh no, it's effective today. Okay, so they announced it 2 days ago and it's effective today. Great job. So we are getting some upside price action on that. And
we are still getting Ondas to pump here. G-Man says it's going to 1170. Music to my ears.
Okay.
You know what I'm going to do? Instead of talking and thinking about the Strait of Hormuz all weekend, I'm just going to listen to the Dire Straits instead. That's my strategy for dealing with this. Money for nothing, Sultan's a swing, you name it.
What do you think? What do you think about maybe 12? Because it looks like we're trying to experience a gap fill here with TVGN, and we gapped down on the news. To be honest, of the reverse split. It's hilarious. You can see this roadmap here. March 3rd, and then the news came yesterday. I think before the market opened, we gapped. Not yesterday, the 4th, and we gapped down. The event happened to this morning, and now we're filled in the gap. This is phenomenal. Great mention.
Well, that's clear as day. You're right, 13.
Yeah, if the straight gets open, the market will go straight up. And then do we?
I see what you did there.
Well, no. That's what thinking about. I got to give.
I see what he did there.
So maybe the oil becomes a short then. I can see all the tankers trapped. Yeah, if you go to Vessel Finder, you can see the concentration of where these vessels are. Very, very few traversing the strait. Mark Knopfler,
yeah, that's the lead guitarist for Dire Straits. Anne Marie's right. I have like my own personal bias. I think Tommy Emmanuel is just as good. If you disagree, go listen to his acoustic version of Classical Gas and then come back and talk to me. But she's right about Mark Knopfler. He's unbelievable. His fingers are unbelievable. He makes that guitar sing.
I think, Zach, that's the hope, and it's starting to seem like that's the hope for the entire region. I think it's looking like all the neighbors in that region want that as well. They have oil too, but remember, there's only one really big buyer that they sell it to. But it's oil and yes, the Strait. I hope it works out. What's going on with Rocket Lab? Because we just talked about it. They had news about consecutive launches. It's our 83rd launch.
I have something for you on that. I actually had that queued up as a news story today, but we ran out of time. Let me actually pull the article. It does a really good job of explaining that. Just give me a moment. I'll pull it for you.
Okay. Man.
Oh, wow. That took less time than I thought. Here you go. Here's the article on Rocket Lab. If you have any questions about what's going on here, this article should answer it.
Ed Edwards, AMPX, man, this thing is going beyond what I was anticipating today. It's getting a little extended too. Still really want to see a back test of the trend line that we drew. But I don't know where this party's going to end yet, because it is a party, and you're invited. All right, what's looking good here from the movers? Oil the oil name's kind of looking shaky. Maybe not Turb. That's printing new highs for this session. TPET, this thing is back down testing at 65 EMA. Firefly also testing its VWAP. Looks like iBit, two names that I keep an eye on for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bybit and BMNR. Those look like they're curling. And they're coming back up here. Yeah. PSRO flag looking okay.
Yeah, that's I would agree with that. I'll be honest, I guess I'm surprised that it's flagging this long, but look what else it's doing here. It's basically just trading and building right above that 15 EMA on the 5. It's doing a good job thus far using the VWAP as support. But ultimately, if you're going to want this to move towards the pre-market high or higher than that, we're going to need volume expansion, and we're going to need it to move away from this level instead of just hugging it the entire day.
And for me, for this, when it comes to this one, I would be watching that VWAP. This has been providing support since we opened. So as soon as we start losing that, I think that's going to give you the indication of where this is headed.
Basketball's on turb.
Not so much a turd anymore, is it? And oh gosh, how did we not draw a trend line for this one?
I was literally in the process of doing that as you had the realization.
I guess I just didn't look far enough to the left.
It happens to the best of us, 13.
I must have been on something else, one of these other.
Whoa, don't tell thinking about it that, or you're going to have trouble. Wisdom's already gone, guys.
All right, TPET looking like this is putting the 65 EMA at risk right in that consolidation just before we opened. Oops, didn't want to do that.
TPET, huh?
No.
Oh, that's the ES and SPY that is trying to change. I've got a bullish regime on the 5-minute for SPY, and I've got a bullish regime on the 15-minute for the ES, and I've got confidence levels above 70 on both of those.
Anne-Marie, T3 Live, one of the guys has a Sultan of Swing in the room. You mean
Sultan of Swing room. Again, that's a
Boss of Clout? The Great Bambino?
That's a reference back to the Dire Straits.
It is? Oh, my reference was to the Sandlot.
Oh, I know. That's a great movie, by the way. Been a long time.
AMPX, new highs. Looks like we want 17 here. Jesus. All right, let me go to a longer time frame here because we are testing some levels that we haven't seen since this first came on the market in September of 2022. Now, the high that month, or I'm sorry, that day, was 26. I'm not suggesting we're going there today. Great push in MP if anyone.
Oh, you know what, Ryan? I'm sorry. He asked so politely, and I just never went to it. He had asked earlier to take a look at the MP chart. Let me go to my bigger one because I think you want to talk about some of those daily moving averages. PRSO, by the way, through the VWAP.
There it is.
There it is through the VWAP. All right, let's go back to MP here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at several different time frames. So this one having a time getting back above the 20-week SMA. Looks like the 50-week is underneath that, so maybe support from that. On a monthly chart, this looks like it's flagging and trying to resolve that flag. You see on a monthly chart, MP, this looks like we might be having a bit of a flagging price action here. Now, what's interesting about the 50-51 handle, that was resistance back from 2021 and 2022, that area. That's where we came down to get support. So former resistance is now support on a monthly chart. So we should start to see this come back up over 65 at some point in the coming, I would say maybe a month or two. If this is going to, if this flag is going to resolve. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think your time frame is spot on. I don't know which way this is going to resolve because this is also going to depend on what happens on the macro front. I would tend to think that maybe this is just my bullish bias. I would tend to think we try and go higher. I would think that we resolve higher, especially since we just held the 200-day again and pushed away from it.
I would think that this goes higher, and the reason I think the potential catalyst that may end up driving it, drive this higher, is the Xi-Trump meeting. Because one thing that I've been keeping an eye on when it comes to critical minerals is that when trade discussions between China and U.S. don't go well, critical minerals takes off. So that's been the trade. I don't know how great that's going to be as time goes on, since we're trying to establish our own critical mineral supply chain. But because that's something that China likes to hold over the head of other countries, making critical minerals more expensive for everybody else, I think that could be a catalyst if that meeting doesn't go well, or if it doesn't happen.
Real quickly, Ryan, regarding the intraday trade here today, this is great, man. We held the 200, we bounced from it, and this actually made for a great trade. I'm really sorry I didn't get to this earlier when you had asked to take a look at this chart, because this was a really good setup, and I'm out here struggling to find setups. By the way, really quickly before we move over to Anne-Marie, the poll results are in. We asked you, will the market sell off today? And the producer went completely rogue on me and did not listen to me. I had asked if he just put a yes and a no, and instead he put 4 options. So here they are. Yes, big red day, 47%. Slight sell-off, 22%. No, market goes green, 19%. I'm surprised that number's as high as it is, but I think those people, they got something. They got the chutzpah. Chop flat day coming in last at 12%. So a majority, almost half the group here today, thought that we were going to have a big red day. Quick check in here, S&P down 1.1%. Day's not over, so I don't want to say what this is, but the distribution there, the bias, if you will, from the group to the downside. All good. I think I'm done for the day now. Ryan, first of all, you have an awesome name. Second of all, I hope that the weather is good wherever you're at. Go enjoy it, boss. It is Friday.
I could speak to the SWVI earnings. We talked about that yesterday, Billy.
Let's do that real quick before we get Anne-Marie in here.
Sounds good. So this is Smith & Wesson. They reported better than expected Q3 financial results, had better than expected guidance. One of the big things that this company had set out to do prior to these earnings was to reduce their inventory levels. So that's something they did. So now they've shifted from that strategy into more of a meeting market demand strategy. They've increased production. So I guess this is more of a pull-through strategy that they're trying to achieve now, which is something NVIDIA did when they were in the hyper-growth mode. Another thing that's interesting about this on the monthly chart, we have a double bottom here, kicked in as support, over the past couple of years here. So I would think that this at least is going to come back up and try and test for a breakout of 18 at some point soon here. Maybe this month, maybe it does it next month or later on this year, but it's looking like this is starting to trade much better, and the company's been making some headway with their reduction in inventory levels.
Okay. All right. 13 really good stuff. I'm going to end with this before we transition to Anne-Marie. Bonus points for anyone in the audience that can quote this movie. That's a Smith & Wesson, and you've had your 6. Let me know what movie that's from. 13. Any closing words for the group?
Folks, even in down markets like this, we can still trade information and have a good time and still make money. And it's been a privilege to continue to come on here with y'all and do that. So let's have another good week next week. Be back here to do this all over again. Enjoy your time with Anne-Marie. Get some options trade going, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Okay, really good stuff, 13. We will see you next week. Take care of yourself. 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's go ahead and bring her on. Anne-Marie, love the background, looking good. How are you doing here today?
I'm doing all right, except my lights aren't so bright. I look like a ghost, so give me 2 secs.
Okay, I'll go ahead and load your screen. And really quick, while you're adjusting that, I see several of you saying that quote is from a Dirty Harry film. That's an excellent guess, but it is incorrect.
Ooh.
So the question is still open without a correct answer.
I would have no clue on that one.
Tess, you're close. You got to give me the name of the movie. You're so close, Tess.
So I've got a scan.
Coming to get you?
What?
I heard. It sounded like a UFO was landing behind you.
Blowers, the leaf
Okay.
blowers.
Okay. As long as it's not aliens coming to abduct you, we're in good shape.
I'd probably go along for the ride. Just check it out. See what's happening.
We have a winner. That quote is from Dr. No, the original James Bond film.
Oh.
All right. What do you got
Man.
for us, Anne-Marie?
Okay, so I would like to share this scan for those of us that use Think or Swim.
Ooh,
I've got this, and it's called the tight shortlist. So what it means by that is that it is giving us, let me put it in the private chat so that you can give it to everyone.
perfect. Guys, free scan from Anne-Marie today. Can we add to the likes, please?
So
Please.
here's what it says. We want stocks that are at least $10 so that we can find some kind of premium for sure. We want volume at least 2 million, average volume at least 2 million. And then we want the market cap at least $1 billion, volume in the option chains, a minimum of 2,000, open interest, a minimum of 5,000. It's going to get you liquid chains. What we're doing is scanning in the NYSE, and we're intersecting with weekly options. Gives you a really nice short list. So here's what I've done for me. I do, hey, let's see what it's been doing the last 5 days. And I stack rank it. So we can see Circle's been bouncing because it's up $19 in the last 5 days. And Alibaba has been fading. It's down $12.50 in the last 5 days. It gives you a little bit of a range. Also, that ATR, giving you an average true range on the day, it's telling you whether it's way out of skew, way above skew, way below skew, gives you sort of a big thing. So based on this, I'd like to go to the extremes and see what kinds of trades we can find. So I want to choose BABA. I want to choose Freeport McMahon. And on the, this Kudaline, this mining stock, I've had this one a long time, since it was like $2. And so we'll pick it up another time. On the bottom, it's a good one though. CRCL, ORCL, and then CVX. And what this does, if you come into the morning, it gives you the weeklies, it gives you the pump being primed. It's early in the day. So if the volume's already ticking up with that kind of early time, you know that there's a lot of price action going on. So my gift to all of you today on a Friday that looks a little bit gloomy, if we want to stare down the charts.
You have no idea how accurate that comment is, Anne-Marie. We are supposed to have thunderstorms all day here. It looks like it's 9 p.m. outside.
Oh, I hate that.
I'd rather have snow, frankly.
Oh my goodness. The worst weather in the world is 35 and raining.
You got that right.
Oh, so Broadcom doing really well. We had a butterfly going into earnings on both sides of that. And this is really continuing to hold. It's breaking out of its earnings event. So let's go ahead, jump on in. And then, of course, if you have any others, this morning I was listening to you while I was working, and you said, yeah, and I need to ask Anne-Marie what she thinks about that. I think we were talking about China, or something, and my brain was like, wait, I heard my name.
You know what it was, Anne-Marie? You know what it was?
What?
It was an outsized, out of the money, what looked like put buy on TSM, where $1.91 million was spent on the transaction. 900 contracts, 300 puts that expire in the July expiry.
Okay.
So,
do we know whether they're long or short, or what's
no?
the
So
dog?
we don't get credit, or that's why I was going to ask you. We don't get credit and debit information from the exchange, so I can't tell if someone is selling a put or buying a put. But my thought there is,
And
if
the
you
strike
sell,
Go
say
ahead.
again.
What was the strike?
300,
Okay.
and the expiry was the July monthly.
Okay. All
And
right.
so my thought was, if you're selling 900 contracts, you have to be ready to get put to what? That's
Yeah,
90,000 shares of
big
TSM.
freaking whoa.
Yeah. So I think that that's notable. To me, that implies, I can't help it, but that implies downside.
Yeah, let's take a peek. Well, you know, I don't know if you've been reading what's going on in the whole Southeast Asia region. It is literally energy landlocked right now, simply because everybody's freezing their exports. Nobody's taken advantage of the administration's offer to say, hey, listen, we'll escort your tankers through, number one. And number two, if Lloyd's of London doesn't want to insure you, we'll insure you to cross the Strait of Hormuz. But nobody's sort of moving, and everybody's just said, screech. And they're keeping everything that they have from an energy perspective pulled in. Like 50%, they're starting to curtail energy events. It's just really crazy over there because they did not have storage. They did not have adequate storage. So a lot of things going crazy. I don't know if you've seen the Kospi. It's moving up and down 10% every day.
Yeah, I have. We actually have a gentleman in our happy hour that trades that. He's commented on that on every day. Look, Anne-Marie, just as kind of a hypothetical here, and I'm sorry to interrupt your train of thought, but
no.
if these companies and countries ran into storage issues because of this, do you think then that they might alter a plan going forward, saying, hey, maybe we should prepare for this and have more storage on hand, and thus make oil storage companies a possible target?
You know, that certainly, if I was sitting in one of those big spots, we'd be thinking that if we were sensible.
Absolutely, me too. That would be one of the first things that I do.
Yeah, absolutely. The question is, what is the run time and the ramp up time? And
that's a good point.
It's always going to be. And here's the thing: you can actually rent barges with the oil just floating out in the sea. You don't have to have it anywhere, but the renting of the barge, it costs cash. And so, yeah, I think they would probably rent the barges rather than begin production on land of facilities. They would have storage on the barges. And so that would be the first thing I would do, because it'd be the cheapest. And then after a while, it's going to be expensive. It's going to have a cost to carry, but it certainly is a way to it. But that's what they're seeing. Everything is just, we had nothing. So nobody was prepared for anything that actually has happened.
Okay.
Literally. So yeah, they're having a little bit of trouble. So here's what's super interesting. So as many of you know, I'm working on this earnings strategy event that we're trying to put into pieces. But notice where this put is sold. At the close of the earnings candle from October. So that's three, that would be the third one away because the earnings are coming up shortly. So that 300, statistically speaking, is where the sweet spot is, because so much inventory was accumulated in this space. Truthfully, if I was a long-term holder of Taiwan Semiconductor, I would sell this put. But if I was also a long-term holder with a tremendous amount of inventory that I wanted to protect, I could also buy the put. So it's a little bit of a coin toss. Remember how we can tell. This is a big thing. So if you're staring down Taiwan, I've got something eating up my resources.
I've seen the beach ball a couple of times today.
Yeah, hang on. Let's see. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, that ought to help me. Every time Excel is open, what? It's such a hog. Okay, so July. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so here's how you tell whether these are buyers or sellers. Come Monday, the open interest is 2,381. The volume today is 903. So you're going to write that down. And on Monday morning, you're going to see if this number is bigger or smaller. If it's smaller, they sold it. If it's bigger, they bought it.
Perfect.
Easy peasy. All right, let's do it. I'm going to forgive me ahead of time because I'm a little bit loopy from a lack of sleep. I have a sleep deficit going that is pretty extraordinary, but it's all right. I'm coming around.
Tea. That is my suggestion.
Tea?
Yeah, some type of tea that helps you go to sleep, something chamomile based maybe.
Yes.
I have got a Catch Some Z's
Ayahuasca.
tea that's really good.
No, I hear that's not very good for sleeping. I hear that's very, very bad for sleeping.
Yeah, that's better for tripping, evidently.
Yes.
Wouldn't know, though.
Yes. Not on my list of things to experience. Okay, so here's what we're looking at for BABA. Right now, BABA is stretched on a string here. It's moved down. Look at where it's sitting. So the last thing that did this prior to earnings, it had a flush down and then a giant move up, and that was into it. That thing was a beast, and it probably is still running today. I have no idea, but Intuit was really, really nice, did exactly what we expected it to, and this is what we're sitting in. So the question is it worth it to estimate one of two things? If what we read on the real papers, and it's don't you think it's very interesting that broad media never quite tells us the kind of dumpster fire that China actually is in. They leave it in the ether. They don't focus on it at all. And so I don't have any idea why, but I totally agree with 13. They're in a heap of trouble. And so here we come into earnings. Whether or not BABA gives us a true event or a false event doesn't really matter. We're going to trade the expansion zones. And so here's how that's going to look. We're going to draw Fibonacci from that earnings candle to the baseline. Oh, that's going to be perfect. $120 on the downside, $135 on the upside. So let's see what vol looks like. And when the earnings event looks to be the 20th, somewhere during the 20th of March. So let's go to the 27th. And let's see if we've got anything interesting. We've got open interest at 115, 2,000. That's very close to our marker, right? So we could, if we follow in these guys and we say, all right, let's see if we can get an iron condor. And we go to 135. Oh, crudsicles. 35, 45. Wow, that gives us a lot of premium. $369. $2 is the minimum I will look for. Now, if you say, the chains look a little thin, why can't we do that in the monthly ones? Absolutely. Same region. Take a look. 115 to 105, and then 135 to 145. That gives you almost half the spread for the time. So soup to nuts, I'd go there. A lot more volume. Now, the question is, what if it actually moves upside? Then what do you do? So Let's say we're going to try and fund our position with this. Easy thing to do would be to buy the 140, 150, 160 butterfly, if you're thinking it's going to go up, or the 120, 120, 110, 100 put. So if I were a betting man, I'd bet the put side.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so here's what happens. If it happens that the put side gets totally blown past, you've collected $4 here. So your break even is actually close to 110. All right. So if it goes to 110 and stops, because you've only got $99 of exposure and $1,000 of upside, and it goes to that 110 and stalls out there, you have $500 that covers the iron condor spread because you got the other 5 here, and then plus another $400 from the position. So that's if it goes all the way down to 110. You got to put an alert for 110. It's very, very important. If, per happenstance, it does nothing and sits around jockeying in that April space, you are going to make $372 because you collect the full credit on the iron condor and your butterfly goes to zero. Lots of different ways to edge this. Let me show you what the risk profile will look like. You've got a price action event that says, hey, if it stalls right at about 115, you get the double whammy. You get all of the $472 of a credit, and you get $5 of this spread. So total of about $900 from a credit perspective. So that's going to be your sweet spot. You want to put an alert at 115 on the put side. You want to put an alert at 110 on the put side. And of course, you want to put an alert at 135. Alerts are the best way to manage your portfolio if you are an active trader. Okay. Let's go to FCX.
Yes, perfect. Lion's been waiting for that.
All right, let's clear this drawing set. This has been sitting in a big sideways pocket. All right, this earnings candle just gave us an earnings event. It broke out. So here's the very interesting thing about these earnings candles. They end up being great places to measure with a Fibonacci. Notice, comes right to the top of, what is that number? The 300. It comes in, a double topping event, and then look at how it stair steps through so many of these levels, just walking right down. So where are we right now? We're right in the middle of this zone. So what does FCX do? They're sitting in the metal space. Right now, there's a big repricing of metals, but that's just for a short while, simply because we are in a commodity super cycle. So the question is, how do you want to play it? For me, full disclosure, I own FCX. If I were looking at this saying, hey, do I want to add to my position? What would I be doing? You know, I'm going to be looking for buy zones that hold this edge. If not, the price action, the next line in the sand is going to be 54, which is the entire length of the first earnings event. What we've done, however, is have a low, a high, retest of the low, and then another high by a tick, and then a retest of the middle of the range. And that's where we are right now. I like this as a buy zone, folks. I really do. And it's because I own it. So I think that there's a little bit of bias there, but the big fat round number of 60 looks pretty friendly. We also have a fair bit of accelerating volume from a weekly perspective here in the chart. And so that accelerating volume, even in the noisy patches, tells me that there are people trying to buy this dip all over the place. Momentum drifting down. It's coming into support. You know, I think if you position here, you have to say to yourself, if I position here, do I want to be put to this in any kind of way? And then if I don't, how do I want to trade it? So top of the box is going to be 65 because that's the range here. And then the bottom of the box would be 54. So if you want to be put to it in some kind of way, maybe there's a lot of behavior right here, right? Maybe you say, hey, I'll do the 55, 45, and then 65, 75. You could do that. My thought would be because it's a commodity, I might go 70. I might go 70, 80 here to collect some. Whoa, wow, you get more premium from that space. All right, gives us a little bit of room. Now, let's talk about how they've positioned. Open interest, 10,000. So we got some buyers sitting around here. How might we want to do this? Same kind of way. If you really like it and you want to take a position in what the implied vol is giving you, then 65, 75, 85, butterfly, you get to pay for it with part of the credit. It's not cheap, but here's the thing. We're going to start paying more for options simply because of the following. Take a look at what's going on with these guys. Wait a second. What the? Oh, okay. It's this acceleration here that I've got. I did not. That's interesting. Hang on 2 secs. I want to know why this is doing this just for a quick moment. Time price filtering. Yes. I probably want to mean no. I don't want to paint the bars. Okay. So what we are seeing is the UVXY, it's really starting to lift and it's starting to gap. And so what this tells us is people are still, listen, I love Ryan Dietrich, but he posted something yesterday and he said, oh, look, it's the most put buying that we've seen in XYZ. I wonder what's going to happen here. And obviously, he's being sarcastic about a bounce. And listen, in general, that's true. But it's the exception that we never are prepared for. And so there's the potential that people unwind their insurance just a little bit too fast, or this price action collapses right here. This is the top of a collapse zone. So it could easily pull back. But if it doesn't, it's headed to 60.
Okay. I got one question. I think that is about this stock here. It's from Trey. Does this strong dollar reverser change anything for you at all? Or is this just a blip in dollar strength?
That's a very good question.
He's got a bunch of them.
The actual answer is, I don't know, but history tells me that when conflict expands, the safety is always the US dollar. Always. The reason we are seeing a repricing in silver and gold and copper and all the like is because of this dollar strength, in my mind. So as long as we have spreading geopolitical conflict, the dollar is going to keep climbing. This is my suspicion, simply because if we take a look at what's happened to emerging markets since this, whatever we want to call it, has begun, they've been destroyed, speaking relatively. And so, as much as people like to go, hey, I hate you Americans, we still are the biggest dog on the street. We still are the biggest and most powerful empire, and we still have the strongest currency on earth. We do. And so that is going to continue to rise in general as long as the conflict continues, unless, and I think this is way out on the edge of the curve, unless we get something absolutely horrific, like somehow Iran gets to sink a couple of our battleships. Something like that happens, we're going to see repricing. Other than that, this dollar, every dip is going to get bought in this environment.
Okay. Good stuff. And there you go, Trey. Now, Trey had another question here. I wonder if you could do this, Anne-Marie. If there's time at the end, and we are less than 2 minutes from the end here, can you ask Anne-Marie how she uses the social sentiment study?
Oh, I don't.
That was easy.
You know, here's the thing. You can actually use a social sentiment study in the scan. What that just tells you is, hey, how much volume is it carrying? I tend to believe that in the market, the wisdom of crowds only works in the middle of the fat part, when things are either moving straight up or straight down. Other than that, wisdom of the crowds, never a good thing in the market, because our brains are engineered to do the exact opposite. That's why so many of us fail trading, because we are very quick to avoid risk, and we will very likely buy at the top and sell at the bottom. It's what we do.
Yeah.
We have to re-engineer our minds in order to trade well over time.
That's extremely true. That's what happened to me. That you're literally describing the first
Me
2
too.
years of me trying this.
Me too.
So,
it's human nature.
yeah, indeed. And it's hard to fight off human nature. Okay.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie, really good stuff. I know we kind of ran out of time pretty quickly here, but really good stuff. Look, I hope you have a great weekend. You're available next week, right? We'll follow up with you next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely awesome. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch up with you on Tuesday.
Sorry
All
about
right.
the gloomies.
Oh, that's okay. It's brightening up here. I'm going to look, happiness is a choice, Anne-Marie.
Yeah.
We're going to be just fine.
Love it. It is a choice.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. We'll see you next week. Anne-Marie's departure leaves room for Pablo. I'm sorry. I told you we were going to have Sandy earlier, but we have Pablo here today. Let's bring him on. Oops. What did I click on there? There we go. Pablo, how you doing?
Paulo, hello, Ryan. How are you?
Bless
you. No, don't worry. Can you hear me successfully?
Yes, I can hear you good. What do you got coming up for us?
Perfect. We're going to check the indices with everything that's going on, and then I will be sharing 3 stock setups that I find a buy right now, despite all the narrative going on the geopolitics. And of course, if members would like to request some charts, some setups, we could check them out as well.
Okay, that sounds like you got a full half hour coming up. Trading Made Simple with Paulo starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
All right. Hello. Good morning, everyone. How is it going? I hope we all are having a great week. And let's get started, as we have three very hot stocks that would be a buy, even with everything that's going on the narratives. But before, we're going to check the indices to see what we could be expecting the next weeks. Let me see. Yes, I have everything here correctly. So to the right, I have the chat room. So if anyone would like to type any ticker, any chart, any ETF, any index we would like to see, of course, we always leave time for requests. So please feel more than welcome, more encouraged to request any stock, and we would be checking it here. All right, so we're going to start here with the S&P 500, and we are still going through a correction, but I think this is still going to turn into a deep buying opportunity. And we are going to see why is it that might be happening when we go into insider buying and insider selling, and insiders are buying this market, which is quite surprising with everything that is going on, right? The narratives are very bearish. Of course, I hope the geopolitical situation gets solved, that conflicts don't escalate much more. But what we're actually seeing is that somehow the market is pricing in, all right, that maybe it's not going to escalate as the news and the current narrative is actually implying right now. Of course, we don't have a crystal ball. We cannot know what's going on and how well. We can know what's going on, but we cannot predict the future. So, of course, I hope it doesn't escalate. But the market right now seems to be looking like a potential rotation more than a broad market sell-off driven by panic. So, SPY. All right, let's go quick with the same opening we have been doing, because we are still on the same price, on the same setup. So I personally believe we are on a wave one of a brand new bull market. One of the reasons is the behavior on Elliott wave against RSI, and let's check it out quickly. Usually on Elliott wave counts, wave one goes from oversold into overbought. Wave two goes from overbought into oversold. We have seen this multiple times. We have it for the 2020 bear market recovery after the COVID crash. Then we have our bear market, and we had the start of the AI bull market, right? The 2023 bull market. And we started again, our count started on the RSI from oversold into overbought. Wave two goes from overbought into equilibrium again. Then we had continuation of the bull market, and now with this second AI bull market, we can even call it, after the Liberation Day crash, we had the RSI again going from oversold into overbought, which would be my main confirmation that this is actually a brand new bull market, right? Doesn't mean it's going to be a multi-year bull market, but at least right now the market is still bullish. We haven't even retested to the 0.2 Fibonacci retracement from all-time highs, compared to all-time highs from this recovery. And what we're seeing is here, all right, is that the RSI indicator is back to equilibrium. And in the RSI indicator, we can see a zigzag move in momentum, okay? We can see the A, B, C. Now, we're not seeing that quite much still on SPX, because this does appear to be a flat correction on Elliott waves. And where is this one? It's right here. So there's multiple type of corrective waves on Elliott waves, right? There's the 3-point corrections, there's the 5-point corrections. In the 3-point corrections, one of the most common is the flat wave. We have one lower, a B, and a C lower, which sometimes it can be a bit irregular. It means the B point is higher, or sometimes the C point can be a bit lower too. And in Elliott wave corrections, usually at least a wave 2 and a wave 4 correction, usually, right? There's no absolutes in the market, but usually at least they should be retesting the 0.2 Fibonacci retracement. And I initially thought we were going to go for that retracement on the November recovery here. Of course, we're going to check my favorite Marvel. If we're following Marvel, how did earnings went? It went quite good. But that's going to be one of the 3 stocks. So going back here to SPX, when we had that November crash, we almost hit the 0.2, but no. So multiple times I have been mentioning that I see breadth going higher, and it still seems that the bull market will continue climbing. But one thing that didn't let me sleep is that we never retested the 0.2 Fibonacci retracement, right? So now it appears we're going for it. And I do think it's going to be a dip buying opportunity. First, we are already, let me clean this up so we can see also. So we're starting to break down here on the second pattern, right? It's kind of like a rising wedge pattern. We're breaking down. So I do think this time we're going to break down on the white structure. Now, if we go into the macro, we're still on a breakout. We're still on a breakout on SPX. So we could kind of retest the breakout, maybe go for a liquidity catch lower. And I do think that since it kind of looks like we're going for a correction in SPX, we have been correcting actually since November. I do think we might reach maybe that 64.90 level somewhere around here, but that would end up being a bit dip buying opportunity. If we go quickly here for the Dow, now the Dow is actually leading that momentum, and here is the reason I think we still have a bit more month of bull market. All right, we're going to check it on NASDAQ and also in small caps. So for the Dow, again, the same behavior, wave one going from oversold into overbought, back into equilibrium. Dow just had a bearish crossover on the MACD on the weekly, but we already retested the 0.2 Fibonacci. I don't think it's going to bottom here, the Dow. This is just my personal opinion, of course, technical speculation, right? We do not know what's going to go in the futures, but usually technical analyses and technical strategies prove to be surprisingly accurate when we see the later market development. So I do think there's still going to be some more weakness for industrials, right? And the 0.2 Fibonacci would be at 47,200. If we start breaking below that level, I would be looking at 45,200. But I do think the Dow is now, of course, it's now going through a correction. We already retested to the 0.2, but I do think the Dow is going to start lagging the market. And who it's actually might start to lead? The NASDAQ. So NASDAQ has been correcting since November in a flat correction, because we already retested to the 0.2 Fibonacci at 23,900. Now, the NASDAQ is still the breakout. We still broke out on the rising wedge here. 1 second. I don't know why this one moved without permission. Okay. So the NASDAQ broke out and we're still kind of retesting it. So on a potential retest of this breakout, let's bring here the Fibonacci. I do think the NASDAQ might be heading back to 23,900, somewhere around this range, and show a potential bottom on a wave two here, especially with the RSI indicator also going from oversold into overbought back into equilibrium. Now, I do think this is a market rotation because we still see small caps strong. So we're definitely not seeing a broad market sell-off driven by panic. And what we're actually seeing right now is that this week, despite all the geopolitical news, we actually have rotation from the Dow, from industrial stocks into the NASDAQ, into more risk-on sectors from the market, which if we would be going right now straight into the bear market with all the war news, I think we would be seeing a broad market sell-off. And we're not seeing that. We're actually seeing strength into risk-on, into tech, into risk-on sectors. We're actually seeing rotation out from defensive sectors. So I do think that it's a bit of an early signal that the market is currently pricing. Of course, this doesn't mean it's going to be like that, but it does look like we're having a risk-on rotation, which I would understand would be signaling. If we go for a correction now, an 8%, 9%, 10% drop on the S&P 500, it would still remain a buy the dip. IWM just broke out here on a multi-year consolidation pattern. We've been consolidating from 2021 basically all the way to 2025. 4 years of consolidation. We're breaking out also on what appears to be a wave one higher. And we could have started a wave 2 correction here for IWM, and even a super risk on sector as RKK. It's actually not looking that risk off. RKK actually looks to be breaking out potentially from a stage 1 accumulation. It does seem it's building a bit some momentum to maybe break out. So we're seeing small caps, even RKK, tech sector looking bullish, industrials looking bearish this week. So I do think that's personally a risk on rotation. With a question I see, very long war. Well, I'm not going to try to predict how the war news are going to develop, and it could happen like that, but we're not just seeing, I mean, I'm not saying that's not going to happen, and I wish it doesn't, but even if unfortunately it does happen right now, I'm personally, just my personal opinion, I'm not spotting much weakness into the market. I do think we're seeing a bit more of a rotation. All right, so let's go into 3 stocks I like right now. We're starting with Marvel. Marvel is, disclosure, my biggest position in my account. I'm very bullish on Marvel, and I personally think this is a wave 2 pullback that already bottomed. Okay, first, what's the data for Marvel? We got the strongest insider buy to sell ratio that I have seen lately. We already know who are the major holders, of course, the big 3, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. And we got 500,000 purchases against 6,000 sales, all right? So that's almost like an 80-85% insider buy to sell ratio. That's even hard to believe. It's massive insider buy to sell. What are the numbers? First, the fundamentals, before we can justify, not justify, before we can understand why is it that the technicals also look good. Marvel, check this revenue. It's super, super strong, record revenue, earnings after earnings. Is that revenue profitable? I mean, maybe they're expensive, it's super expensive. So even though they're bringing strong revenue, they're losing money? No, absolutely not. Super strong margin too, margin going higher, operating margin at 18%. So all that revenue, it's actually profitable. No, this is debt, which is actually dropping, also good. Free cash flow at 10-11%. It was previously 20. Looks very, very good. Very strong fundamentals. And would it be the time now, right? Because maybe fundamentals are good and everything, but the technicals are overpriced. No. See where the technicals are. That insider buy, those previous 6 months are happening on this volume. Here on this lows are looking very, very strong. And I do think we kind of already bottom on a potential wave 2. Now for Marvel, we would still need to break above 96. And if we start breaking above 96, especially if maybe we can have an early breakout on the RSI momentum in the weekly, something like this. Where is the arrow? If we start breaking out on the RSI momentum, that should be green. On the RSI momentum indicator, that would be telling me early signal, price action is ready to break out. And if we start breaking above 96, 100, I would be looking at a retest of previous all-time high, especially keeping in mind that strong insider sale. All right, now another stock I love. It's going to be ServiceNow. I see we have some requests there. Of course, I'm going to go with them. So we're going quickly. All right, ServiceNow. Yes, I know all the narrative. AI is going to crash software stocks, and oh no, it was not here. AI is going to cross software stocks and all that. But do we think that revenue from ServiceNow, it's actually looking like it's getting disrupted by AI? I personally don't believe that narrative. Record earnings, earnings after earnings, record earnings revenue. I think we don't even have a dip. We don't have a dip in 8 years of revenue. We don't have a dip in revenue for ServiceNow. It's amazing, their return. Now, is this profitable, right? Because you can be having revenue, but maybe your operation is not profitable. Yes, it's even record revenue. Well, it was a dip compared to the previous quarter, but their operation is getting more and more and even more profitable. 15% operating margin, free cash flow, amazing. Free cash flow oscillates basically. between 15.20 to 40.50. Super strong. They don't even have debt. Their debt is negative. All right. What else from that? What else? So with what we're seeing here on insider buy and sell, gets me thinking, are we really going into a bear market with what we're seeing on the chart? So big three, of course, the major holders for ServiceNow, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, and insider transaction. We got 450 insider purchases against 19,000 insider sales. Even the CEO actually bought here. All right. So insiders are massively buying the stock. And why is it that they're buying the stock? Because they know how the company is performing, and it's performing super strong. Of course, disclosure, I also have a position for ServiceNow. Why wouldn't I? I actually, to be honest, I initiated my my position here, and I got destroyed here on this crash. But I actually increased much more my position. I think I duplicated maybe even a bit more on this crash. Now I enter with much more conviction, and we're seeing this record volume from how much? Record volume from 2020. It's a 5-year record volume. That 5-year record volume, it's coming on an important support trend line. Important support trend line here. This looks like an ABC correction. Let me try to do here a FIBO extension to see if we already reached the 1.6 or 1. All right, so this would be the C wave. It's the same as A wave. Usually, the C wave tends to be between the 1 and 1.6, but I don't think we're going all the way back to 43. So I think in this case, we're going to bottom here. I think we're probably already bottoming for ServiceNow. We're seeing a big spike with big volume. What I would like to see now, I mean, fundamentals are great. And insider buying is telling me this is a great spot to buy. Now, how do we know if the stock already bottomed or not? I would like to see a breakout on the momentum indicator as well. All right, I would like to see a breakout on the RSI. I would like to see a bullish crossover on the weekly MACD. If we can start having that technical confirmation, I do personally think ServiceNow would be starting a bull market here. And finally, my last pick before we go into the request is going to be Amazon. Fundamentals for Amazon are good. We already know them. I don't have to, we were not going to review fundamentals for Amazon right now, as we also want to see requests, but I can show you insider buy to sell. This is Amazon, a Max 7 stock. Insider transactions, 10 to 1, almost 10 to 1. For a Max 7 stock, 10 to 1? This is insider purchases for Amazon. Last 6 months, we have 1.3 million insider purchases against 180,000 sales. Should be a 8 to 1, 9 to 1 insider buy to sell ratio. That's a lot. That's very strong for Amazon. Where are we? We are on what I do believe it's a wave 2. All right. On a flat correction, an ABC. Let me do here the FIBO extension. Did we at least reach 1? And yes, 1 second. That with the other FIBO, it's impossible to see it. So if this is a zigzag correction, all right, we're bottoming on the 1. So we did a ABC move here. Also, from its bottom on Liberation Day, that is a 0.6 golden retracement, not a Fibonacci retracement. And we're also having a strong bounce from the wedge pattern, which on support joins the 2022 bear market and the Liberation Day crash. And we're seeing a strong bounce here. I personally think Amazon could be strong to form a potential bottom. Maybe we could have a retest of support with a liquidity catch, but I would think this is a wave 2 correction for Amazon. And I do think Amazon could even be the outperforming stock in the Max 7. I believe with this strong insider buy to sell ratio, we have seen 2025, Amazon was actually a laggard compared to other Max 7 stocks, such as Microsoft, such as NVIDIA, such as Google. So I do think we're going to see Amazon with a lot of strength this year. All right, so now let's go here. Now let's go here into some of the requests, and let's go quickly. Thank you. I see some comments there. Happy that we're live today. Appreciate all that support. Also, of course, appreciate your participation as well. CRISPR, I'm bullish on genomics too. I don't want to sound like a perma bull. I'm sorry, but and it's not that I mean I can get very bearish too, but we're seeing this insider buy, on many stocks. So we're seeing the charts at least not breaking down yet. We're seeing strong insider buy. There's also record short activity in the market. So it's hard, because when you go into the news and you see what's going on, I mean, like, it's two different worlds. I mean, like, what's going on in the news and what's going on indicators, on insider buy, it's impossible to connect them, right? So it's hard to, I do think it's hard to believe it, but charts are still looking like we're just rotating. All right, so for CRISPR, I'm still bullish. Unfortunately, we lost the strong insider buy. That is true. Unfortunately, we lost it. And I would like to share it. I think we're break even now. Yep, we got 229,000 against 229,000 purchases and sales. That's not ideal, all right, if we want to be objective. But I do think, well, this is a stage one. In my opinion, this is a stage one accumulation. So if we start seeing more insider buy, I would understand this accumulation is ready to break into stage two. But now that we lost it, maybe we're still going to accumulate a bit more. Still, I'm very bullish on CRISPR. I have a long-term position on it as well. But it would not be part of my hot picks for development right now, such as ServiceNow, such as Amazon, such as Marvel. I think those have momentum for right now. CRISPR, it's a super high risk to reward setup. We're at 50 and previous all-time highs is 200. So even if we break higher than that, there's massive returns for the genomic sector. But maybe we could consolidate a bit more. I would prefer to see at least momentum getting hotter here on the technicals and also on the insider activity. Let's see Snow here. For Snow, even before I go into the chart, I'll go here into Yahoo Finance. I don't know this insider activity, but let's see. It's going to be a surprise for me too. Insider transactions, Snow. See? Insiders are buying. We have 2.8 million purchases against 1.1 million sales. All right, just quickly, their fundamentals for ServiceNow. Good revenue. Good revenue. Super strong revenue, not even a single dip. Now, and here is the trick. This is why I love Marvel and I love ServiceNow. This is super good revenue, right? Amazing. But it's still unprofitable. Their operating margin is down negative 24. It is getting much and much more profitable. So it does seem they are going to be profitable sooner than later, right? We can see the trend on their operating margin. It's starting to get more and more profitable. I do think it's a great company, but they still are, they're not yet as profitable as I would like to see. So that would be, I wouldn't call it a point for the bears. Absolutely not, because revenue, it's super good. But not the most bullish fundamentals yet, right? Yet. There's plenty of growth. There's plenty of growth too. We can see here growth at 30. Now, their free cash flow is actually positive. They're increasing a bit debt, okay? Their debt is still negative, but it's going a bit higher. But I would say the fundamentals are good. Now, my chart is so outdated for ServiceNow. Let me give it a quick check. I had a wave one, but I think that wave one is not going to play out. We might start it later. Let me see here 1 second. If this would be a wave one, Are we bouncing from 0.6 or 0.7? Well, we're bouncing from 0.6. We're bouncing from the 0.6 Fibonacci. There could be the possibility this could be a wave one. So I would, for snow, I would go back here. I would go back to the Fibonacci. Let's put it super quickly. And let's see which would be our risk. All right, so we need to survive the Fibonacci retracement range from its lows, the 0.6, 0.7. Let me zoom in, I can even see it. We're bouncing strongly from the fifth. So snow bulls need to hold 173, all right? If we break below the 173, then I would be looking at a retest of this support trend line at 144, which would also be the 0.78. And if we break lower than 0.78, that's usually indicates that it is not a wave two correction, that it is also a retest of low. So if we break below 144, that's going to look like we might retest the lower of the range. So that would automatically cancel here my my potential count, right? But I do think while we remain above here, we might still be on a count. I think we have time for one or two more. We have requests for MicroStrategy. I haven't checked that one on a time. Of course, first thing I will do is insider buy and sell. Well, insider buy to sell, we got 90,000 purchases against 70,000 sales. Not that strong, but we can see why is it that the insider buying for Marvel and ServiceNow and even Amazon it's so what would be the word? So bullish. Yeah. Why is it so bullish? Because Marvel was 500,000 purchases against 6,000 sales, and ServiceNow was 400,000 against like 18 sales, I think. For MicroStrategy, it's a 1.5 to 1 insider buy, but it's not the strongest. Fundamentals, I won't even see them for MicroStrategy. But this is starting to look like a bottom, and this is a perfect setup for an ABC correction with the Fibonacci target. So this was wave A, this is the B bounce. Well, we did the one. We did hit the target. The typical target on the zigzag correction is for wave C to be 1 or 1.6, but that would be too much. That would already be negative for the stock. So it does seem we could be bottoming here for MicroStrategy. Very interesting. So let's see. We would need to hold here. This horizontal support line remains valid at 111. We would need to hold that one. So yes, I think that was all for today. Fortunately, we ran out of time. So just a 1 minute recap. What we're seeing in the markets, I do think what we're seeing, it's a bit of rotation going on in the market. I don't see a broad market sellout, especially when we have the Dow Jones selling out like that, but we're not seeing that weakness. See, weekly candlestick, it's actually green for NASDAQ. Well, for the Dow, it's a huge red drop, falling knife. So if the market would truly be selling out on panic on the war news, I think we would see a broad market sellout. Every sector in the market selling out. We're not yet seeing that, so I think we're seeing a rotation now. Only here to close. All right, and this is beautiful. From my semiconductor sector here in my watch list, AI hardware, we have 2 green stocks. All the other ones, super red. We have 2 green stocks. We have Broadcom, which is up 1.5% today. And who else? We got Marvel, up 18% today. Of course, after earnings, right? It's not that it just popped, but still it's valid. I do think when the market recovers, I know how this sounds, but I do think Marvel could completely outperform the other semiconductor stocks. Rotation inside of market sectors too. Taiwan Semiconductor already did its move. So is Broadcom. So is ASML. Micron, we don't even have to open it. So is AMD Tube. I do think it's time for smaller semis, such as Marvel, even such as ARM, but that we're going to leave ARM for the next session. So beautiful to see this on Marvel. I'm very bullish. That would be my favorite pick. ServiceNow and Amazon. I do think those are my 3 favorite picks right now for the upcoming weeks, the upcoming month, maybe. Thank you for everything. I would like to thank you everyone on Benzinga, Ryan, Aaron, everyone on the team for inviting us on Fridays. We're Trading Made Simple. You can find more about what we do on tradingmadesimple.org. We have live trading sessions. We give personalized trading. We do automation as well. So you feel free to visit our website, tradingmadesimple.org. To learn a bit more about us. Thank you everyone for your participation, your attendance. I hope we all have a great weekend and see you in the upcoming Fridays. Goodbye, everyone. Good